it each time. Always feel that way. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Box Office Banter. Anyways, man, we're moving on from the brackets finally, but before I say what we're going to do what we always do, say the Banter Buddy of the Week, and that's going to have to go out to one of my best friends, John Bailey. Now, I don't run the Instagram page. That's my homie over here to the left. And he's been saying how he's been liking many a post, and I've seen him on the Project Louder thing. It's cool to, have that support. And, every once in a while you got to throw a shout out to your homies. So there you go, John Bailey. Anyways, though, we're going to jump right into it, and we're back on the franchise tip. This is the start of 5 franchises leading up to a Saturday ranking of all of these franchises. Now, we're not going to do an individual ranking with that, where we rank every movie, but we're going to do an accumulative ranking where it's kind of all of ours combined, and we'll find a way to map it out to what Box Office Banter feels a ranking would be of all these movies as a collective. And we're kicking that off with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And the first one, man, obviously we should probably start there first. Yeah, cue the And you know what? I'm going to let one of y'all go first on this. I ain't even going to be the first to jump into it. Who wants it?
Who wants it? Not everybody at once.
All right, I'll go. Shit.
I was like, somebody got to do something. I knew
No.
All right, let's do it, dude.
Yeah, the first time I watched it, I didn't really enjoy it. I was like, this is not that great. And then I rewatched it last night preparing for this, and I actually love it. The whole Franklin and the... You gotta love Franklin. But why are they picking up hitchhikers in every Texas Chainsaw Everyone? Don't do that.
It's a staple. It's like the dinner scene. It's gotta happen.
And the whole one person or 2 people go into the house, get murdered. Their friends are like, we need to go find them. So they go in the house, get murdered. And then the way the girl escapes, getting in that truck and driving off, and with the Leatherface wearing that suit, that's like the best. Why didn't they just keep that going? Leatherface in a suit. That was
fitted,
perfect.
bro.
And then the most iconic scene, I think, in the whole Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise is at the very end when she's driving away laughing hysterically, and the Leatherface is just swinging the chainsaw, going psycho, like he does. This movie was great. After a second viewing of it, where I sat down, I was like, all right, let's see what this is really about. And I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, the ebb and flow of them two just like going back and forth between her, like, ha, 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 and him just, the sound of it. Great.
So just sticking with the end real quick, where did the semi-truck driver run off to? Do you notice he doesn't get in the truck? He just keeps running.
He's still running to this day, legend has it.
In my notes, I just wrote the semi-driver.
Yeah, like, I was like, I rewinded to see where he was, because he didn't get in the truck with, like...
He got out. Is this where he got out? And then he saw Leatherface, and he was like, fuck that, and get back in
the truck. Dude. Yeah, well, he gets out for a second. Then he, it's one of my favorite parts of the movie. It cracks me up. He gets out, and he's wondering what's going on, and then he sees Leatherface, and he just starts booking it like this. Like, he's almost like, oh, shit. Like, what is this? And he grabs that wrench, just chucks it right into his head. Yeah, dude, that's great. That's great shit. Yeah, I think he is still running to this day, guys.
It holds up well for a movie made in 1974.
It absolutely does.
It definitely does. But it still was made in 74, so I actually expected some of y'all that aren't as familiar with it, maybe you've seen it in passing a couple times, but you don't watch it religiously like me. I wasn't surprised that when you first said your first rating, I was like, I knew at least one person was going to be like, yeah. But I was like,
that would have been me, but...
In my mind,
rewatched it and
that's what I thought immediately. In my mind, I was like, if he watches it a few more times, I bet it grows on him. And ironically, you watch it one more time for the bite, and then bam, just like that. You got something to say on it, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, I love the first one. One of the scenes that really stuck out to me was where he puts Pam on that meat hook for the first time, and the meat hooks come back through each movie. But
the meat hook is. One of the worst things.
And then to think of it, though,
that's a staple.
That
too.
was if it was to really happen, that wouldn't have even been the worst part. I think the worst part would be watching your boyfriend or girlfriend get cut up
while you're on the meat hook.
Yeah, while you're just standing there. Like,
You
put
can't-
me
you're
on a meat hook
helpless.
instead of sitting me in a chair and watching my girlfriend get cut up. Like, I'd rather you put me on a meat hook than to have to watch someone I love get chopped up like that.
I'd rather just stay away from
Well, yeah.
Texas.
You imagine just squirming on that? Like, no, you motherfucker. What are you going to do?
Don't drive through the
Dude.
desert of Texas,
Yeah.
basically.
And if you see an armadillo, get
Yeah,
the
if
fuck
you see-
out of town.
or a
bro.
hitchhiker, do not pick up hitchhikers ever.
That's a given to begin with, though. But now you know about them armadillos.
Back in the day,
dude.
though, I think they
Tricksters.
just did that. I think they were like,
Oh,
"Oh,
they
hitchhiker,
did.
let's just do it." Let's pick
And that's
'em
how
up."
the
And
motherfucking
then-
serial killers just
Exactly.
murder people. And that go the other way. Don't be a hitchhiker. You get picked up by
Get a job and get a car.
That's a dangerous game. What's funny about that is like my dad is one of those fucking people. That's my phone saying it's curfew. You know, we from Louisville with all that
geez.
crazy madness, yeah, going on. But yeah, my dad is actually one of those guys. He'd be like, "That guy looks like he needs help." And I'm like, "No, he don't. Like,
My
not
dad,
while
too.
I'm in the car right now. Do not pick up that motherfucker."
We've
Like,
seen too many movies.
yeah, exactly. We know better than that. Not gonna fool us, dude.
Hey, I
Rodney
just
still
got
knows.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah,
I just got an alert. We're on curfew.
yes, but
Please
of course-
begin to
We're gonna
head
miss
home.
it,
All right,
for
we're going to
sure.
cut this
The-
podcast short.
Yeah, we got to get out of
We
here.
got to get out of here.
Yeah, the president of the United States alerted me first, of course. Though.
Yeah.
But Rodney, what do you got, man?
You don't even know.
I didn't write
Welcome
anything.
back, by the
Rodney,
way.
welcome back. Rodney's been on a bender
He took off
the
his clothes.
past 2 days. He's just crammed the Texas Chainsaw Massacres back to back to back.
Just watched
All
all
eight
8 in 2 days.
Yeah, 4 movies in each
Impressive.
day.
Yeah.
That's
It
a
was
feat.
something. I had to do it too, dude. I had to watch it with him, and I even watched some with Josh. Even the ones I like and love, I'm like, again, I just watched this yesterday. It
I don't
becomes a
know
little
how
dry.
Rodney did it. That's like, ugh.
Yeah, no credit to me. It's like you watch these all the time, anyways, you bitch. Yeah, but what you got, Rodney?
I watched the first 3 when I was like way younger, so it's been
Yeah.
10 plus years since I've seen the first 3, and then all the other ones, here and there. But the original one I hadn't seen in so long, but it's so good.
It's
the original, I think.
Phenomenal.
I think for the way that it was made and with the material that they're dealing with and everything, they did such a good job. And it even fooled people back in the day. Like, this is found footage. Like, this is real.
Yeah.
And even today, it still kind of holds up as that. Like, you see it and you're
Mhm.
like, well, damn, this looks like it really happened. But, yeah, I really like the original. Dude, the one thing that you and me were talking about, how she jumped out that window
Yeah.
towards the end. She jumps out the window, just no care in the world, just like wherever it takes me, it takes me.
Yeah, like-
And it's like they've had to
I'm
keep.
just- anything's better than if it's on a huge piece of glass, a la the movie Ghost, where dude gets shanked by. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just not staying here, whatever
Yeah,
that is.
That was crazy. I think some of the deaths in it with the brutal, the head hitting. I have it in my notes here that
Yeah.
the realisticness of some of the, like, they get hit in
Yeah.
the head and they go into
And their
shock
feet
and their
starts
body starts
flopping,
flopping
yeah.
around.
Seizure.
Like fishes.
Yeah, like it felt like they really just got sledged with a hammer. Like it felt realistic, and I think that's what kind of attracts me about the first one so much.
Oh, dude. So much so, man. Like, that's the thing about it more than anything. It just feels so damn real. And even after you find out, because a lot of people thought it was real for the longest time. I don't even think it was that I was younger and thought that. I just think, internet happened. I grew up in the 90s. The internet wasn't in every fucking household at that time. And it all kind of came out, and everybody's like, damn, this ain't as real as we thought. I mean, that should have been a tipping point since Toby Hooper even said he came up with the idea when he was thinking about Edgein, and he was in a fucking, like an Ace Hardware type store, or like a Lowe's or Home Depot, wherever it is, looking at chainsaws. He's like, this would be scary as shit if somebody was chasing after somebody with it. So that should have tipped us off right there. It's like, if he's coming up with that, maybe this isn't as real as it's let on. But as far as even that whole part of it where it's real, the way it's filmed and the way it looks and the low budget, I mean, it's a masterclass of maximizing your budget. And because of the low budget, it actually works in its favor. This whole movie feels so damn real. Like, you almost feel like we're following a cameraman that's just following this. Like, oh, you're about to make a dumb mistake. You're going to make a dumb mistake. There's very few movies that reach these type of peaks and levels like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre does. You can't go out and find another movie like this. There's very, very few that reach this type of gritty and or have this kind of potential. I mean, you can go on and on about how real it is. I mean, there's a few negatives. Franklin, I'm sorry, is annoying as fuck.
I hated
Yeah.
Franklin.
I think everybody
Franklin.
knows that by now. People kind of rag on the acting from time to time, but something I jotted down, and I think this is like one of the better ways to describe it as I said it. I basically said acting isn't great, but it contributes to the realness of it all because they don't feel like bad actors. They just feel like not so noteworthy regular people. So it doesn't feel like they're like underacting. They're not even actors, so they don't even know how to act bad. They're just being themselves on camera, which brings us more to the realness of it all again. You feel like you're watching regular ass people. And then when the shit goes down at the end, everybody knows the background story with the dinner scene, how they just put stuff up and it took hours upon hours to film, and it was over like 100 degrees and they were going crazy. They had no time with the wardrobe. Everybody's sweating bullets, going crazy. So when you get the actual acting part of it, it's not even acting. Marilyn Burns is just going fucking insane. She's losing her mind. That's zooming on her eyeballs, all that shit. Everybody had it at that point. And that's why she looks so crazy leaving. It's like it's finally over. And there's just so much to this movie. I mean, you can go on for days. The fucking chase scene's perfect. I mean, Sally may have been she was the first final girl. Your scream queen is a better way to put it, if you will. And she might have been the best. And it's because of that authenticity of her performance, the tension, the build-up, the birth of an icon, and what a debut it was. If you can stick it out with those, pretty average actors, because they're not even almost really actors, that build up for when Leatherface arrives and you put yourself in that mindset in 1974 when they ain't really seen shit yet. And they see that they don't even have time to think, is that a man with a mask? Like, oh my God. Dude just got busted in the head by what even was that? And before you can think about it, doors close and you're like, what's coming next? This is a legendary movie, and it's that way for a reason. And unless y'all got something to add, that's how I would cap the original.
It's a masterpiece.
Faux show. And then we changed gears.
Totally.
Quite a bit. And I tried to warn these people because I know I think they'd seen it before, but it'd been a long time. I'm not sure if everybody had seen it, but it's especially on a back-to-back like Rodney. It is so different. But speaking of that, though, what'd you think of 2, Rodney?
I didn't like 2 at first as I was watching it because it was such a different, and back-to-back as in watch the first one, smoke a cig, and then this one's already ready to play, and we started playing it. So it's like the vibe is still there from the first one, and then this movie happens, and I'm just like, dude,
I try my best to warn people, but people are still not ready for it. Even I give them that warning.
But I don't know. It's still not. It's not a travesty of a film either. You know, it's like it's good, and then the way you put it in perspective was saying that it's which makes sense. The director wants to do a different movie, not the same go around. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just different takes each time.
Mm-hmm.
So it made me a little bit more understanding about 2 and where he was trying to go with it. The execution wasn't perfect or anything by any means, but the who is it? What's Bill Moseley?
Yeah,
and
it's
it with
Bill
the
Moseley.
plate in his head and everything.
Chopped up.
Dude,
Lick my plate, you dog dick.
Bill Moseley was great in this movie, as he is in all these kind of movies.
He's so good.
He's just the perfect face for it, and that voice he has. I don't know. I have my issues with Leatherface himself. With this whole,
it's a different
swinging dude.
That shit. I used to like. That was one of those things. I was like, what the hell is this? But now I see it and I'm like, bro, and I just laugh at it. It's just,
I don't know. It's not bad, but it's not great. But it is. It's definitely a decent watch if you want to.
No,
If
speak
you're gonna
for
watch
yourself.
like the trilogy, if you're wanting to watch the trilogy, definitely don't skip it. But the old man, the grandpa, we talked about that earlier.
Grandpa.
Dude, this guy goes forever.
He just keeps going.
He just sits there.
It's like Hugh Hefner.
But yeah, it was all right though. So
Yeah, I think the best way to look at 2 compared to 1 is 2's more of a dark comedy, where 1's that horror movie. I wouldn't really,
Not just a horror movie, like a flat out like horror masterpiece. So
Yeah.
it's so hard going from that to that, and that's the battle, man. It truly is.
Yeah, because two's crazy.
Yeah, it's
Like
definitely
that underground cave system and
It's like
shit.
an underground
like,
lair. It's amazing.
it's almost like a circus.
Yeah, it's
Kind
so
of vibes
sick.
down there. But yeah, there were definitely more funny aspects to it, I guess. I thought it was kind of funny. Drayton wins that chili contest,
Oh yeah,
and it's
my
got the
God.
people.
Yeah.
There's human meat in it.
yeah.
and
And
that's
it's
why
eating it.
they're like that. He won like his second year in a row or something, and he's
Yeah.
just been feeding people chili, which made me think of
Yeah.
South Park.
Yeah, right.
Straight
Scott
off.
Tenorman.
Yeah.
You can't skimp on the meat. That's
And
the
then
secret.
another quote from the movie towards the end, where
Here we
Drayton
go.
crawled under the table and the
Yeah.
chainsaw got him in the butt, and he said, "Sure took care of my hymns."
I like he's talking about like sex. Like he's over here like, ask me about sex. He's talking to Leatherface. Out of nowhere, he's like, what's the Saw? The Saw's family. What's sex? Well, nobody knows. He's just saying shit like it's off the wall, dude. I don't know. There is a few chuckles, but it's almost hard to laugh at because it's so serious at the same time. You're like, I feel horrible for
Yeah.
laughing at this, but yeah, it's
But
one
yeah,
of those
I didn't
things.
really like many of the characters at all in this movie. I didn't like
Yeah.
the final girl really.
She was hot though.
I like Stretch.
Out of all the girls,
Stretch, I love Stretch. Yeah.
I see. I don't like her.
Love to stretch. I couldn't help myself.
And then
I know
Lieutenant
Leatherface wanted to. Jesus
Lieutenant
Christ.
Enright. I didn't like Lieutenant Enright the whole movie.
See,
Couldn't
I
stand
like
him.
Dennis Hopper the whole movie. I love just like we'd lose him for a little and come back and you'd be like, oh, Dennis Hopper. That's right. I can see how that could be.
That role fits him though. I think.
Yeah,
I think it's a
like-
perfect role for him.
It was fun watching him just tear like I'm gonna turn it all down. It's a gateway to hell, like or whatever. Like I like that, dude.
But small tidbit: this movie was released on my birthday in '86.
Damn, exact year you're
8/22.
born too.
Wow.
No, I'm just playing.
April.
8/22.
Yeah. Oh
Nine-
yeah.
86.
Uh-oh. Happy
Oh, yeah.
birthday,
That'd be
man.
August.
It's like
Yeah.
whoa, what?
That was your birthday last week then.
Well, we're in September, but
Yeah.
You remember?
August 22nd.
yeah, that was a month ago.
Right.
Whatever,
Yeah.
dude. It all runs together in
Recent
2020, right? Got anything else to add on it?
I
That's
mean,
about it. I don't have much to say.
What you got, Tyler?
Jeez, guys, don't watch this movie.
Ah, dude.
This was a
I've
chore.
been there though.
I've watched all these movies, and these were harder to get through than the Rush Hour movies for me.
Here we go. We know how much he hates those.
This movie was like if Tim Burton made a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, but did it really bad.
See, that sounds amazing to me.
I didn't. Dude, I can't even talk about this movie. It's so bad.
I got for you fans out
mean-
there, because I know there is. I got plenty, at least a little bit. I don't know about plenty. But
The first kill where the guy plays chicken and doesn't realize it's a
oh yeah,
TCM, and Texas Chainsaw, and he just decapitates him.
yeah. Like not even decay. He takes like side of his
Yeah,
head.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
that's when you knew like, okay, this one's not playing around with the
You should
blood.
never play chicken, especially in Texas. You never know if a chainsaw.
What were you thinking, bro?
But I did not enjoy this movie at all. I was like, this is so off the wall that, in each movie they make Leatherface a little bit different, and I'm like, if they would have stuck with how he was in the first movie, it don't matter how bad the next movies are. Leatherface will stay the same, and he can make the movie or break it. And he just this was
It's hard
just
to do.
so
man,
wacky
for some reason.
and unbelievable. I was like, this. How is this even? How did this get approved to be made?
You'll find out it's a big reason why I'm a fan of the Friday the 13th movies. I mean, Jason switches gears, but he's
Yeah.
mostly the same. Even Michael, you have that same problem. You feel like it's Michael. He does become more supernatural as it goes on, but it's like his mask keeps changing. You're like, can they just not get this mask right? So it's like it's kind of similar to that.
Yeah, I can see
I
did
it.
not enjoy this one really at all.
But for me, what the hell, KOKLA, whatever the fuck. There, I was about to do a radio thing. I couldn't even remember what it was called. Yeah, dude, the fact they brought the character of Drayton back, that helped a lot for me. Chop Top, Bill Moseley, they couldn't have got a better person to really play fill-in duty for the hitchhiker. Like, you can totally tell they're like brothers in that fucking movie. Then you got fucking Leatherface He's definitely no Gunnar Hansen. He's not even on Andrew Baranowski or however the fuck you say it in the remakes. But for this type of weird character he's playing, he does a decent job for that. Like, I don't mind him for what he's going for. And that's the biggest thing, man. When I first watched that movie, I was like 10. And I'd seen the first one, and I was like, oh, my God, I finally get to see the second one. I was so hyped. I turned it on, and halfway through, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
So I tried to warn all these guys. Because it took me first watch. I was like, this is the worst thing ever. Second watch, because I'm a completist. I was like, I got to watch it again. I was like, that's just so weird, though. Third watch, I'm like, I mean, it's different. And then the fourth watch, I hear about Tobe Hooper, who directed this one, too, which also doesn't make me mind as much the change of pace. Because they didn't take Tobe Hooper's movie and go a different direction. Tobe Hooper took his own movie and took it a different direction because he realized it came out 12 years later. So he wanted to do something new with it. He wanted to make a spoof because, believe it or not, the first one was supposed to be a black comedy, even though us now we're like, the first one was supposed to be a black comedy. That never came through. So this one, he's like, I'm going to fucking ramp this up to 11, make a gore fest, kind of like the first one probably should have been, but he didn't do that because he actually wanted to make it a lower rating. It just got banned because of how physically taxing it is in the mind, mentally taxing, I should say. So he made sure this would come across that way. And when you know that it's going to be this black comedy movie that's going to beat you over the head, not let up, and it's going to be off the wall insane, and you could take all that in consideration and let it space out from the first one, not do what Rodney did. This is actually a great movie to me. You look at the other ones that are all wacky and off the wall. That's what the second one did right. And when you watch the second one, I guarantee you rewatch them, you can see how this one was done so much better than all the other ones that try to imitate this version of it. He did this the right way, and for what he was going for. The other ones, like Next Generation and fucking 3, where they're playing like metal music, we'll get to that. Like, that's a poor copy of what he did in this one. Tobe Hooper, way I look at it, he gave us the first one, which was great for that, and he gave us the second one, which was great for that. And then a bunch of imitators came by trying to do both, and neither of them achieved any of that until they remade it. And he did a great job in that. And Chop Top was awesome. How could you not love the famous quote, "Oh, my kid banana"? That's one of the dumbest things I've ever fucking heard. The blood and the gore is ramped up. The fun vibe just never stops. It's pedal to the metal. Dennis Hopper is clearly having a fun time, just acting a fucking fool. The underground lair, I can't say enough about the set design. It's so fun to watch that, and as off-putting as it is, that pedal the metal shit, it grows on you. I'm telling you, give it time. Maybe it won't for everybody, but I guarantee at least one of y'all in the future will be like, okay. And the ending too, I like Stretch actually. I like the ending where it kind of ends abruptly like the first one with her and Bill Moseley going at it, and she has the, she has her own little moment like that on top of that mountain. The shot of it from a distance, yeah. I think it pans out nicely. And overall, man, oh my kid banana. I love this movie. There's not many movies that go from hate. You can not like a movie and eventually come around to it. I went from having this as like 1 out of 10 type shit to now where I have it now, which I'll reveal in a little bit. I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre too.
I hated it, but maybe if I watch it again, I'll learn to appreciate it a little bit more.
It's the hardest thing to do because it's such a drastic change. And you hear a lot of horror fans feeling the same way. And I've even had fans who've been like, I don't like it. And then they'll come back later and be like, I do like it now. You're right. Once I could separate it.
I don't know. It's just so bad.
It did have, I think, the best jump scare in the series.
100%.
From that record room.
Yeah, the record room is great. Good night.
That scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, EXIT.
Him at the end when he's skinned too, and he's walking toward her, and he's like, "I'm falling apart on you, darling."
Yeah, that's so fucked. That whole scene. But the record store scene, because he's over there doing the scrape, he's like eating his scalp. It's just fucking out there, dude. And he's like, "Oh, this is where all the records are, huh?" And then I know where he's like, "All right, let's check it." He flips on light, and then like right through. That still gets me, man. So there is like little moments like that are just, man, I don't know. It's a good combination. It's I can't even explain Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and I think that's what I like about it so much.
It's hard to explain. It's just so out
Bizarre.
there and wacky and bizarre.
Very bizarre.
Yeah.
And boy, did it achieve in doing that.
Oh, man.
Doesn't matter if it's your flavor or not, and it's became mine. It's kind of like how I didn't used to like cherry Kool-Aid. I do now, you know what I mean?
Oh, Kool-Aid's great.
Yeah, right? I know, dude. I didn't like it at first. Okay, let's move on to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. You know what, Tyler? Why don't you kick this off?
You want to kick
for
it
us?
off?
Kick
again?
it
I
off,
already
dude.
started 2 of them.
Did you? I couldn't remember. Well, I know he started one. You want to start? Actually, we'll have Josh. We'll keep it rolling around.
I don't have much to say on this movie.
It's one of those flicks. I get it.
And like you had said, Brandon, before we watched it, it's a very forgettable movie.
Yeah.
It's my biggest.
I already forgot it. Which one are we talking?
You said this was 5?
There's not much memorable from the movie at all. I don't. It's
Yeah,
not that they do a lot terribly wrong, but
No.
they're not.
It's just a mediocre.
Yeah,
It just
Chainsaw
flatlines,
movie.
man.
It's just like the whole movie. I feel like.
Yeah. Okay, so we get to, if somebody at least agreed with me on this much, but yeah, that's my whole take on it. And you know what? Fuck it. I'll go ahead and jump on this one. I was trying to save for last. The third one, that's what it does, man. And this is why it's one of my least favorite ones. It doesn't make as many mistakes, I would say, necessarily, as some of the lesser ones. But I almost would rather have a movie be terrible, but it made me feel like, do you remember that? Like, oh my God. And what were they doing with that? It's like, that was kind of entertaining, though, but that was terrible. I'd rather have that than a movie that just does this the entire movie, and I felt nothing. It didn't go low or high. It might be better, and it might objectively be better than the movie I was just talking about. I'm not going to say what that movie is or if it's a certain movie. But in the end, I'd rather watch that other movie personally because it brings something out of me. And there, it really is something to the so bad it's good. There just is. This movie flatlines for me, and it never really recovers. I think it suffers from a lot of overacting, like a lot of the ones coming up we're going to talk about. It's, the good ones, they didn't have to overreact. They just did, man, and it fucking worked. I mean, it was cool to see Viggo Mortensen and Ken Faree. Ken Faree definitely gives a step up for me. Viggo was he was whatever in the movie. I prefer Matthew McConaughey because at least he did something memorable, even if it wasn't great acting. It was overacting. It was memorable. That shit sticks with me. But, I mean, the gas station attendant, he's over there getting, his Norman Bates on. He's, looking through the wall.
Yeah,
He's
it's so creepy.
Yeah, being a creep. I actually liked the theme they played when they left the gas station. I thought that was really cool, and I honestly wish they would have stuck with that more throughout the movie. Maybe insert more of that than, the metal music they have when Viggo and Ken are fighting. What the hell is that? If you're playing metal music in the middle of your Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, you officially realize you have jumped the ship. And another thing that really bothers me about this movie is Leatherface himself.
Yeah.
It's like a creative choice to have Leatherface like he's gritting his teeth, and you can see it through the mask. But in a lot of times in certain lights, it just looks like he's got a shit-eating grin. So the people will turn around oh, and he'll just be like, and it's what the fuck am I looking at right now? It just looks stupid. And the Leatherface might not be the worst Leatherface, but he's the worst Leatherface that's played serious. And when you're goofy and you're at least entertaining. When you're serious and you're the worst at being serious, I think that's even less appealing. I mean, there's not a whole lot of good, not a whole lot of bad. I like the sledgehammer kill. That kind of goes with what I'm about to say next. The traps are kind of cool, brings another aspect to it. But overall, dude, that's it. There's nothing. You don't go below it. You don't go above it. You just kind of coast through the movie, and you're like, oh, okay. And then you forget about it later on. It's just,
You really do.
It's just, there's not really, it's the least memorable out of all the movies, I think. Maybe not the worst, but the most of it just doesn't stick with you. It doesn't land.
Go, Rodney.
Yeah, I didn't like this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, my kid banana.
No way. That's shocking.
Shit.
I don't know what I just watched it and I couldn't. I mean, I watched it, but I couldn't keep myself invested in it.
Yeah,
it's hard.
And it's not just because I watched all these in 2 days, but I mean, I'll still be invested in a movie. But this one just could not. I guess because of that flatline vibe.
Yeah, it doesn't really grab you ever.
Yeah, I would look away and then look back and be like, okay, so I didn't miss much of anything.
It doesn't emote anything. It brings no emotion out of you. There's nothing.
I didn't like Leatherface in it at all. I didn't like the characters in it.
No.
I mean, none of them really.
Honestly, Ken Faree is the only saving grace. He was
without him, which he literally is the saving grace in the movie.
Yeah.
Literally.
He's just I'm watching Ken Faree in that movie, and I'm like, like I don't even know if he does anything special. He's just being Ken Faree, and he looks like he's.
If he wasn't in it, everyone would be dead.
Yeah, he's just like he looks like somebody who can act and do things in a movie. Everybody else, even Viggo Mortensen, it's like I don't know. He's better than like most other people in the movie, but you're still like you wouldn't have seen like this guy could be a star in the future coming at all. Ken Faree just had that calming presence where you're like, oh, I'm glad he's in the movie now. Just beyond the name, just the way he acted for sure.
Yeah, we just watched this movie and I already forgot about it. It's oh man, I feel like if someone was like, all right, we're gonna make Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, you get to make one, you can make one, you make one, you make one. They give them a baseline or a plot. Each one tries to one up each other with which family is going to be the craziest and which one's going to be the most outrageous, and then that they just go from there.
And the timeline is just a fucking mess.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing here?
You find out Leatherface has his driver's license.
Oh, yeah, he cues the metal music.
Yeah, turns on
metal.
Yeah, that's what I was saying in the movie. I've never really thought about it that way. When you're watching it, it feels right amongst the movie. But just put your like, how did we get here exactly? Because like, just put yourself in Gunnar Hansen. For those who don't know, that's the first guy that played Leatherface, probably the best guy to play Leatherface.
Yeah.
And Gunnar, can you imagine him in the middle of the first one, getting in a car, starting it up, like, hang on, let me kick on my AC/DC. Like, you'd be like, what is this? Like, what the fuck are you doing? You just ruined the movie. And it's like, what? He just turned on music. It's not that it's that simple. There's something about a vibe. And the fact that you would kill the whole vibe with that. The fact that I was like, oh, let's put on some tunes, some oldies, man. I feel that. Like, why do I feel like that? It's Leatherface. What the fuck is this? I don't know, dude. That kind of that's one of those moments you realize you're sitting there like, oh yeah, this is kind of damn. Is this dead after 3 movies? It was so promising in the beginning. Ugh.
Yeah, if you watch the first 3 movies, you're like, the first one's great. I'm pumped for the second one. And then the second one happens, you're like, what the hell happened?
It's what the fuck, but it's good. I'll stand by that.
And then you watch the third one, you're like, Jesus, I don't think I can watch anymore. And then they make 5 more. Oh man, we haven't even gotten to the meat of the franchise yet. But this is it on the third.
Was that a pun, Tyler?
Yeah,
the meat.
We haven't really gotten to the meat of it, and
you don't skimp on the meat. That's for damn sure. So we done with the third one?
Yes, please.
Let's move on to Next Generation, which most people feel is the worst movie in the franchise. They're probably right. This, I'll say this much. The cast is immediately intriguing.
Yeah, it really is.
The characters are as dumb as ever, though. Good fucking God.
They got 30-year-olds playing high school people going to prom.
Dude, they got Matthew McConaughey, though, man. I mean, it takes him no time to dial it up to 10. But you don't realize he hadn't even dialed it up to 15 yet. Like, it's going to go another notch. I hate what they did with Leatherface.
Oh my gosh.
A complete sissy and drag. That's not the move, guys.
No, why would
that's not.
Who approved that?
It just keeps getting worse, don't it? It's like Leatherface listening to metal, and now he's like in drag. You know?
Like I said, it's like Leatherface.
That don't mean people that do drag are all sissies, but this particular
when you're
drag
a serial
queen
killer
is a sissy, and you can feel it. When he stands up, he's like, ah, and then like Renee Zellweger's like, you sit the fuck down. He's like, ah. It's like, what is this? And did you see the grandpa? The grandpa in this movie, you always see it. This one looked a little bit more alive. He just had the side hair like that. And he literally was like at the end of the table. And then out of nowhere, he's like, and just walks off. What the fuck was he even there for? What was that? Like, it was almost funny. I'm not going to lie. I mean, how about this for a chainsaw movie? Not a single person gets killed by a chainsaw. You made Leatherface a bitch. Not just a bitch. We saw him dress up. Even in the first one, he had some makeup and shit on. But you made him a girl, essentially, and you stripped him of his weapon. I mean, he has it, but he didn't do anything with it. Not once.
Yeah, like I said, Leatherface pretty much look like Mrs. Doubtfire in this movie.
I'm saying,
It's
where's
so
Robin Williams?
Stupid.
Dude, and what about the modern music, too? I'm not a fan of the modern music being inserted into a horror movie. Any of the classics, dude, it just feels forced and weird. Like, back then, maybe it felt more normal, but imagine, like, Halloween 2018, and out of nowhere, like, Rihanna comes on. That just kills the vibe. It doesn't work for me. And McConaughey's girl with her... Renee Zellweger's character. You remember that scene we were even talking about? She was like hitting her with a stick, and it was the fakest scene ever. If this was a stick, she was like, "And stay down, stay down, and don't do that again."
Stop, and she's like, "Okay."
It's like, dude, you can't be fucking serious, dude. The government conspiracy stuff and the wall. I'm like, why are we adding this in? What is this? And who can forget? Boop. Whatever.
Oh,
What's it go?
yeah.
Boop. That is fucking amazing. He jumps onto the car, like, boop, lands on the car. That is fucking great. I will say that. Would that be great if that was in like the original? You'd be like, "What the fuck is this?" But in this, it's like, okay, that at least
fits.
made me laugh. That's probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole franchise. Actually, I don't know why that scene cracks me up. Just watching you're like, "Where's McConaughey?" And he just boop onto a car, fucking hood. And dude. How about the Heather character, though? The girl that, like, her friend that was, like, on the ground. She's over there, like, unconscious, and they're in the middle of fighting, and Renee Zellweger's like, "Get up. Like, this is our chance to leave from the psycho murderer killers." And this bitch has the nerve to say, 5 more minutes. Yeah. Like, she's being woken up for fucking school or something. You're about to get murdered. Are you fucking kidding? 5 more minutes. Just let me lay. I'm tired. What? Like, at this point, you're like, this has to be done on purpose. Like, it's got to be a joke, dude. I mean, and McConaughey, dude, he does have the one of the most forgotten, all right. Yeah, he does give one in this movie. I never hear that one talked about. Yeah, guys. I mean, this one is I'll let y'all go, but there is something I will say about this movie. It is fucking god awful, but I will say one thing about it after y'all are done. Who wants to comment on this?
At the beginning, you find which characters you like and don't like immediately. Like the guy that's so cocky and cheating on his girlfriend and his
times
girlfriend.
1,000.
Yeah, what a douchebag. And then a casual hit and run. They just do a hit and run, and then they get in another car wreck. And then the one guy's injured, and then Matthew McConaughey comes.
He's dead.
Yeah, he's like, he's dead. He's like, he was just talking. He was just breathing and saying he was okay. And he's like, no, he's dead. And he snaps his neck, and you're like, okay, McConaughey's going to be this type of guy throughout the movie. But
it was good at that point, though.
You have no idea how wacky he turns into. It's
beyond the boop. The perfect incoming jump noise ever. I jump off of like playgrounds. Anytime I got to make a jump, I make that noise and nobody gets it. But now these guys will. I can look at them and be like, you get it? All of you? Ever hang out with y'all?
Yeah.
It could happen.
They just the family just went over the top. The McConaughey is wacky and crazy, unbelievably. But that's what that's like the only good part of the movie. Is how crazy he is. McConaughey, without McConaughey in this movie, it might be the worst movie ever made.
It might still be, dude.
Dude, I mean, I'm done with 4. I don't want to ever watch it or talk about it again. I'm done.
I'm in the same boat as you, Tyler. And I was gonna say, like, the only thing that makes it watchable is Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah,
dude,
like, he really
I love
does.
his performance.
How
honestly.
crazy, yeah, like.
It's not even necessarily like a good one, but sometimes I wonder if it's as over the top as we think it is, or if it's cut. Yeah, but hear me out though. Or is it the fact that everybody else is so lifeless and weird that his good performance comes off even more crazier than what it is? Because if you're watching a movie and like you're just like on 10, you're on 10, and you see him go to the you're like, oh shit. If you're watching a movie and you're down here like no, and then you see him go up to here, you're like, oh, drastic, holy shit. It's gonna have more of that kind of feel. I mean, he's over the top. Don't get me wrong, but maybe his over the topness gets a little oversold because he's literally the
The
only
only one.
person that brought it,
Yeah.
and he went completely A game with it, and everybody else was like,
and then the whole thing with his leg, like what's the what the
that
hell
cracks
is the
me up.
point of that?
I don't know, but I was
remote control.
I was laughing
Yeah.
when they were like having like a remote control off, and he's like,
he couldn't control his leg. Like what the hell is going on?
who knows, dude?
That's such a stupid thing to add into this already terrible movie.
Just
Ugh.
adds to the wackiness, I guess.
Oh man.
Oh
I'm
man.
done.
That's
Got
the best
anything,
noise.
Rodney?
Ronnie, you got
This is
anything
just
to
one
say?
of the worst
Trash.
movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's talking
Yeah.
about gouging his eyes out as
I
watching.
hated every minute except for the boop moment. And I didn't even care for that until you said something. You was like, "Hold on, let's rewind this real quick."
You're like,
And
wait a
then-
minute, wait a minute, wait a minute.
That was comedy, but
I could
everything
see-
else about this movie is
Dude,
just
I'd be in the middle of the grocery store saying that sometimes. It's like a fucking itch on my brain. Like, I gotta let it out.
I watched it over here with him, and he rewinded it and showed it to me twice too.
Dude, I can't help it. It kills me every time.
It's great.
But all y'all laughed both times I did
Oh,
that.
yeah.
It's fucking perfect. Because it's so out of nowhere, too.
It's the
Like,
best
it's like
scene in the
incoming, like he just drops down. Has his arms out, too. Oh, it's great. You got anything else to add, y'all?
that's it.
Okay. The one thing I will say, though, to maybe surprise y'all, it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen, technically. But there is something about just the all-out ridiculous craziness of this movie that is engaging to me. Like, I don't ever, like, I'm, like, it's so bad that I should, when I'm being my completest self, I should be like, oh, God, on to the fourth one. But I'm like, I'm thinking of Boop and all this other like wacky shit McConaughey's doing, and I'm like, I'm ready to watch it again. I can't help it, dude. The best way I can describe it is it's like a disaster, an absolute disaster that I can't take my eyes off of. But objectively, it is a shit show of a fucking movie. I will give you that. But all right, next generation. We'll turn to the real next generation of greatness here. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake.
they finally
That's
did
French
it right.
for remake, by the way.
Finally, they did it right.
Yeah. Who went this one first? Did you go first last time, or was that Tyler? I can't
Here,
remember.
I'll go first.
You want that? Tyler wants
Yeah.
it. Come on now.
This movie is fantastic.
Greatness.
1 through 4, or 1's good, 2, 3, 4 trash. The remake, unbelievable. They finally did it right. Jessica Biel, oh man, she kills it.
Beautiful. A great final.
This
girl in general.
might be her most famous role, right? Am I
Yeah.
wrong?
Chuck and Larry.
Dude, I was
That's
gonna
not.
say
That's
that,
not her mom.
but-
Looks wise, so they just focus on like, woo. Did you see Chuck Lella? We're talking about her acting chops. and
No,
all
she's such a great actress in this movie.
that. Oh, she's amazing.
The
Great acting in
opening
this movie all
scene with
around,
the black and white, the cop walkthrough. When I first watched this
chilling.
years ago, I was like,
Gritty.
"Oh my god, this really happened. This is real." and
Same,
then at
dude.
the end scene,
Wow.
the end scene, it shows him like get attacked. I was like, that scared the shit out of me, big time. I was like,
Right.
"Oh my god, what? I can't believe they put this on a movie." The running through the sheet scene,
I
that's
love it.
another iconic scene. Just getting chased by Leatherface.
Get out of my house.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
Bring it.
Just
He's
slams
doing
the
that.
opens the door.
Oh my God. That
Uh,
theaters was another world.
And then the putting the guys on the hooks. God, that sounds that's so
Yeah,
painful.
you feel
looking.
it.
Yeah, and I love that shot where like he hangs him in the air and it shows from Mike Vogel's not point of view, but there's the camera's here and you see the hook and you see Mike Vogel as he's being lifted in the air see the hook and you see his
Yeah.
eyes light up like that's what's about to happen. And a second later,
And this
Damn,
is
dude.
where I think you get introduced with the crazy sheriff.
oh yeah, Hoyt.
The guy that killed the sheriff is now the sheriff.
Oh
man.
Ermy dude,
And the guy with the glasses, I forgot
Morgan.
Morgan.
he
Yeah,
was
he makes
acting.
him get into because again they picked up a stupid hitchhiker and she blows her brains
Blew her.
out. in
Hey,
the back.
Morgan was against that, by the way. He
Yeah.
was the most adamant, like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
And then he was like, can we dump her? Like, Morgan was, I was rooting for Morgan.
I really
man.
liked all the characters.
Mhm.
Oh,
I
they're
can't
great.
think of a
Characters are
bad
very
one.
likable.
And,
I love that. One of the best groupings of any slasher movie I've ever seen. I
And-
like them all.
and then when the sheriff tells Morgan to reenact the suicide, and then Morgan has a gun and then points at the sheriff, and you're like, fucking shoot him, pull the trigger.
Oh, it's
and
so
he did.
intense.
And it wasn't loaded. And then he goes, you just shot the sheriff. I think that's what he said.
Yeah.
And then, oh man, that scene is.
I shot the sheriff.
I was thinking.
I couldn't help myself.
Oh, and then when Jessica Biel.
Leatherface would throw that on in 3 for sure.
Well, this was a great scene when Jessica Biel goes into the meat packing plant, which we haven't even really talked about the meat packing plant, how big of a deal that is.
Been packing
with
meat
the
since I
family.
was born,
Yeah.
boy.
And she's hiding in the lockers. I rewatched this a couple days ago. I was just thinking, if you're in a locker and there's a chainsaw wielding mass murderer outside, and you're just stuck in a locker trying to be so quiet, how scary that would be when he's just opening lockers, checking it, and then he hears that noise and a pig runs out. I'm like, how the hell did that pig get in there anyway? What's the pig doing? Like,
She might have set him
I think
up.
she set him up. I think
Oh,
she
then-
put it in there.
It would have been
I didn't
smart.
see it. I
too.
don't think I saw that.
It might have just been a cutaway
I
type
don't
thing.
think they showed her doing it, but I think she had planned it like that.
That would
she
be
had
my
like
guess.
a
Yeah,
knife or
that's-
something.
yeah, 'cause she
or a
did-
blade.
Yeah, because as soon as he turned around, she.
That
went and
music's
stabbed
good
him.
too. That was playing.
But yeah, this movie's great.
100%.
Way better. Like the first one, great. This one, great. The ones in between. Oh, geez, man.
2 is the one good one that's not on the same intense wavelength.
No,
I'll stand by that.
but yeah, I love this
But I
movie,
feel
and this is one of the ones that I actually rewatch religiously, like twice
That's
every
true.
1 or 2 years. I'll
He's-
just re-up on it just because
He's got a little shrine.
you'll
in him.
you'll forget little scenes, and then this just rewatch it. Oh, that happened, and
Mhm.
that damn sheriff, dude, kill that motherfucker, dude.
He's about as good as Leather. He almost outguns Leatherface in that movie.
Yeah.
Arlie
He's
Ermey
great.
steals the show.
He really does in this movie.
Like, I mean, my God. You thought Bill Moseley was good, or the Hitchhiker in the first one was good. Arlie Ermey took that side character to another level.
Yeah.
I could watch him all day as the sheriff in these movies.
That's all I gotta say about.
He's
the
morbidly
remake.
funny, too. Like, when he's picking them up, and he's just
Oh.
like, I got as much respect for any dead body. And then,
Yeah.
like, get that goddamn body out of the back of my goddamn. He's like, well, she's deader than a goddamn doornail. Like, pick her up. Like, yeah, dude, he kills me out. He's like, protect and serve. That's what we do. He's like, he sure did.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, he's so good in those movies.
yeah. That's all I gotta say about this one. This one's great. I really enjoyed this one.
Thank you for your time, Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler.
I like it.
Who's next?
Who's ready to share? Like this is AA or something. I got the beer. I think I showed up
I'll,
with the
I'll
wrong
just say that
utensils.
I like this one. I thought this one was just as equally good as the original. And I don't remember. I remember seeing it in theaters when it came
Ooh,
out,
it was so chilling.
and it was scary because I'm one of those people I can't watch horror movies at night. And
Pussy.
It's been like
Fucking
I don't remember the last one I was like comfortable watching like that, but
I couldn't help myself.
I watched it at night and it scared the shit out of me. And then
Fucking fanboy.
watched it again
Nice save.
today, and it didn't scare me as bad, but it's still the intensity of it is right there. The way it was filmed, Marcus Nispel, the director of it, just knew exactly where to like take it, like camera wise and everything.
It's worse.
So I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I think
It
most
holds up.
people do. I think most people really enjoy this one.
I fucking hate.
Oh my God.
Really?
I really,
The gall.
I really like it. I'm not gonna say it's great. I don't think it's as good as the original,
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, I
but
understand that.
I really do
You're
like
wrong.
it.
You're wrong.
I don't.
But I understand.
I don't think they could have picked a better final girl than Jessica Biel. She's
No,
great.
She was
One of the most
fantastic.
underrated final girls. You never hear her get brought up for some reason.
And she's great to look at as well.
She is
Um,
boobyful.
One scene I really liked was when the hitchhiker girl shot herself in the head. That camera shot went
Oh,
through the
yeah.
hole.
That was
dude,
in
that
her
little
head.
shot was great. You
thought
see the
that was-
reactions?
Yeah, I
Yeah, it
thought
pulled her
that
right
was
out of
great.
her pussy, dude.
Oh my god.
Dude, Trump would have found that immediately if she got in the
Dude.
car.
That clip's going on Instagram.
Would have grabbed her right by the
you got a
pussy.
time market, 48 minutes. Timestamp.
Guys, got a gun.
Another thing I kind of noticed was Erin. She kind of comes full circle with the hitchhiker girl that they pick up at the beginning, talking about "Don't take me back there" or whatever, because she started screaming that to the guy that picked her up when she was the hitchhiker.
Yeah.
So I liked how they kind of came full circle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
with
weird
that
they
as
picked
well.
up 2 hitchhikers.
Yeah, they just keep doing this shit, dude.
Yeah, in the same movie. Pick up.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We won't pick up 1 crazy hitchhiker. We'll pick up 2.
How about
Like-
that?
Am I wrong?
What, in the first one or what?
Yeah,
no, the
you
we're
lost
talking about
me.
the remake.
The
'Cause that
remake.
first girl,
I was saying
she's
Jessica Biel becomes the hitchhiker
Yeah,
at
the
the
second
end,
one.
and like the
Oh.
trucker picks her
Yeah.
up, and she's like, "Don't take me back there. I won't go
Yeah,
back."
yeah, yeah,
She's
yeah.
she becomes the original hitchhiker.
I
at
wonder
the
if they did
beginning.
that on purpose.
They
though,
yes,
'cause
they
there's some,
absolutely
a lot of
It was
people.
word for word.
I've never heard anybody catch on to this. I didn't
That's
say this
crazy. I
about the
didn't even think
original,
about
but in
that.
the original, when the hitchhiker gets thrown out of the van, you can see a red Mack truck pass, and then at the end, what does the hitchhiker die by? A red Mack truck runs him over. It's like the
Foreshadowing.
same truck.
And he hits it hard.
Yeah, a lot of people
too.
don't catch that shit. Yeah, he gets fucked up. But yeah, I only threw that quick point in because I was like, I didn't get to say that, and it matches what you're saying. So I wonder if they were thinking on the same wavelength. Like, let's give them that same foreshadow.
I would say that
It
they
came
were,
full circle.
but yeah, I mean that. Like you said, Sheriff Hoyt does a fantastic job throughout the whole movie. This is a very good movie. I won't go great, very good.
I'll go
I
beyond
think the
great.
sheriff was more terrifying than Leatherface in this
yeah.
movie.
He
Yeah.
could be, dude. He's that great.
He was the perfect person to be cast as the sheriff.
Man,
as
was that
well.
a fucking bribe? Just, look like we got something else in common. Like, yeah, this keeps getting worse. Like, well, wait till you meet Leatherface, sir. Okay.
You got anything more on the remake, Brandon?
I got fucking
Brandon ain't even
plenty.
started.
Oh, he
Okay.
didn't even do it?
No. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
First and foremost,
Let's
The-
run. Miami's playing.
yeah, the cast is refreshing out the gate. Seem like your everyday normal people rather than your prototypical jocks and prom queens. It gets that right. I like it when shit like that happens because they always go for that jock prom queen type look. It seems like in these new movies, got to make them popular. It's like, dude, popular people get terrorized by people too. That happens. In fact, I'd say maybe even more. Maybe, you know. So what's the deal with that? We got to make them have that glamour shot look. Every time we get a cast of people, these look like normal, everyday people. They didn't have to be that. That's one. I'll talk about the cinematography. It is beautiful, and it gives off its own vibe immediately. It has this icky feel that almost comes through the TV. Everything's wet, dripping. There's always dripping in this fucking movie, and I'll establish and elaborate on that more later. Fun fact, the same guy that did the cinematography in the original did the cinematography in this. I don't know how many of y'all knew that. So that was awesome that they got him back. I like the switcheroo on the hitchhiking scene. Really set the tone, I think. Kind of like what you were saying. It wasn't the same thing, but they flip-flopped it. And, you know, now it's not the person coming in the car being the aggressor. The person's going the opposite direction and then some by being the regressor. Like, aggressor to oneself, if you will. I think the pacing is great. The movie moves along at such a great clip. You blink and it's like what we were saying at 40 minutes.
in.
He accidentally skipped to 40 minutes and I was like, oh, we're back where we left off. You're like, what? Really? Like thinking maybe, you know, it was way earlier in the movie. It's like, no, we're already back there, dude. Blink of the eye. You love a movie that can move along in a clip like that. And due to the cinematography being so great, dude, there's very few films that can achieve that kind of feeling, that icky feeling. It really brings it to the centerfold and just keeps you in the movie. It's almost like you come through the screen a little bit, like you're there. They achieve that with that cinematography, like just the little fog, the lighting through the trees, everything it does in that movie, the lighting of the house where it just makes it look huge. The fucking light, it's so fucking good. Jessica Biel, we kind of talked about her. Great, underrated final girl. Also great to look at, of course. And another big thing is this is a very well-acted movie, which is something I can't say for a lot of slasher movies. You know, I kind of got used to that, especially being a slasher fan. You kind of just embrace the shitty acting or the average acting, if you will. I actually like the shitty acting better than average acting because, again, it makes me feel something. I can laugh at it. The acting in this movie is top-notch, particularly by Jessica Biel's character of Aaron and then Mike Vogel's character and I forget what Morgan's actor name is. He gives a great performance in a lot of scenes. And then even though we're all aware now that none of this happened, it does do a great job with that beginning shot that Tyler was talking about. I think it really nails that and feeling like where even if it wasn't supposed to be a true story, you're fucking over there like, is this a true story? Like, this just feels so organic.
I thought it
real.
was so bad.
Me too,
I was like,
dude.
this is real.
Me too. And Leatherface is hulking in this movie. He is big. Yeah. And now Gunner might not have been as big as Andrew Barnowski or how you pronounce it, but this is the first badass Leatherface we got since then. And 74 all the way to 2003, us Leatherface fans were pretty starved for that. So that really
finally
quenched a thirst. The sheriff, we talked about that, dude. I mean, he just lives for these fucking kind of roles, being in the military, just being that guy talking shit. I mean, you see the same thing, Full Metal Jacket, R.I.P. to R. Lee, me. Dude, that dude was a beast. And sure, the house looks way different, but they're establishing their own fucking thing here, and it looks scary as shit. I love the touch, too, little small thing of the bodily fluids. It might sound gross, but in a movie like this where you're frantically freaking out, you're crying, you're losing your shit the whole time, you're gonna have fucking snot and spit fucking flying. Like, you motherfucker, Morgan's losing spit the whole time. Everybody's noses are running. It's almost like a joke. You're like, good God, y'all in your bodily fluids. But if you're constantly on level 10 freaking the fuck out like this cast was doing such a good job of portraying, you're gonna have that. And I love that touch. I mean, good Lord, dude. How about the shot about with Aaron seeing Kemper's face on Leatherface's body? That is one of the most iconic shots. Just imagine what she's going through. Just like, dude, he just turns around like this. Like, she's hoping he's still alive. And it's like, nope, there's his face. Are you fucking kidding me? That shit still gives me fucking chills. And mainly, man, I legitimately just found myself rooting for all these characters to get out alive. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest with you right now. Like with Mike Vogel, I'm like, come on, Aaron, get him off there somehow. That scene kills me. I heard that scream she lets out when she finally goes through with killing him. I'm like, come on, Aaron, you can get him up. Like, fight, Mike, fight. Like he's going to go anywhere. Morgan, it's like, come on, stick with him. I wanted these guys to get out of here genuinely. Normally in these slasher films, I just want to see them pile up a body count. Usually that's all I fucking want. Kill some people in creative ways. I wanted them to outsmart Leatherface, man. This movie packs a motherfucking wallop of a punch. It's underrated, if anything. The remake is fucking great.
Very good.
What about the beginning?
The beginning.
Kick it back to the first prequel. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Yeah. I took that out.
Go ahead.
Lean it against a beer.
I was about to say, dude, we can do that number.
Beer stand.
What do you know about that, dude? Okay, who wants first on this one? About Rodney.
Yeah, I'll take that. This one I actually ended up liking, and I didn't
really
think
good.
that I would.
I'm surprised.
I mean, I don't love it by any means. I mean, it definitely has its problems, but for it being after everything we have been through to this point,
like,
watching
yes.
this movie, it's actually like it's dark like it should be, but it also the time frame it takes place in, I really liked how it was like the Vietnam era, and the two brothers were dealing with, you know, one of them wanting to not enlist, and the other one has already been to, you know, Vietnam once, so he's already kind of in his head like, yeah, and he's a badass. So
and it comes out in the movie.
Yeah, it does, and it's just like, all right. So I definitely was curious to see where that went, and it kind of kept a good pace like throughout the movie. The pacing was really good with it. Pretty upset with a couple of the deaths. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't want his face to be on Leatherface. You know, the older brother.
It's like Kemper too, though, dude. Kemper was in that movie for such a short amount of time, but it was like, oh, he's dead already, and then boom. They make you feel something though when you see it. They really do.
Yeah, it's good though. It's a lot better than I expected it to be, because I just thought it was going to be another remake or whatever that.
Origin story.
Yeah, that was going to be awful, but it actually turned out pretty good. So yeah, I definitely recommend this one.
Yeah, it was saved by bringing the same guy that played Leatherface back, bringing Hoyt back, same type of filming, all of that. I think that's what I knew going in. I was like, this has some promise. It's basically going to, it's basically a sequel for all intents and purposes to the last one. They just chose to make a prequel. So I was like, this can't be bad.
And you get to see where the sheriff came to be too in this one, which was pretty good. Which is another thing I meant to say on the last one. You actually get to see Leatherface stitch up a face for the first time.
Yeah,
it happens
cool.
in the remake, which was
Skin
really cool.
disease.
But this one definitely was good. So
Good.
So I really like the beginning.
Me too, man.
I feel like the cast of the kids is likable, not as much so as in the remake, but I think they still did a good job.
Good,
You have the girl from the Fast and Furious
Jordana
movies.
Brewster.
Yeah, I think she does a pretty good job.
She's a great final girl too, for sure.
I like how you figure out how things happen to the remake. This being the origin story, so you see how he becomes Sheriff Hoyt or Officer Hoyt, whatever his name is. How he kills the only sheriff and just takes his clothes and everything. You see how in the remake when he takes his teeth out, you see why he's missing his front teeth from the. Who was it? Dean. I think it was Dean bashing his face in, telling him to do push-ups, and how that kind of came full circle.
And I like that little revenge you got there, too.
Yeah.
That's good shit.
I like the added aspect of the that biker gang dude.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't in there very long, but it added almost a sense of hope for the kids, like he's gonna save the day or whatever. And then we see how that. Yeah, we knew how it was gonna turn out, but it almost added that little bit of hope.
It was a cool kill how he got cut in half by a chainsaw.
That was pretty crazy.
It's
ripped
crazy
the
how that's vice
chainsaw
versa.
up through his body.
You
Yeah,
didn't
that was
like
good.
the aspect of him?
No, it's not. I don't dislike it. I'm kind of like in between with it. Whereas, like, I can see how you looked at it, like, oh, it gave him hope. For me, it was like it's almost like they're just adding in like another unneeded
kill.
threat to me, because it would have been different. Like, I would have felt that way if he would have been like, "Fuck you, you're on your own." When they got to the house, if he would have been like, "Damn it, girl, we came this far," and they would have had. That's all he would have needed to say. Like, I think that was a bad choice because I wanted to feel like how you were feeling, like it's a complete queet. I'm sorry, skipping words. It was a complete 180, and he's like, "Come on, damn it!" Like maybe he says that at first, and she's like, "You fucking son of a bitch," and then he turns around, and then he's kind of helping her, and then he dies, and I've been like, that was kind of cool how they came full circle. But the fact he reverted back to just being a douche, I'm like, this is just another guy in the movie just to be a threat like they are, because that's all he ended up being because of the biker gang, and I felt like it was just fat that didn't need to be there in the end. But it was a good kill. It was vice versa for me. But I see how you'd get that from it. I just needed a little more for it to push it to that level for me.
The part where Leatherface pulls the girl from the truck with
Oh
the
my
meat hook.
god, dude! I had
I
that
fucking
written in my
felt
notes. That was. Oh, that looks so
Came out of
painful.
nowhere, dude.
She thought she was
gone
scot-free.
I thought she was scot-free.
I did
thought
too,
everything
and
was
then
perfect.
that hook to the chest and just ripped her out when she's going like 20 miles an hour. Oh my god!
Yeah, I love that scene. That is great.
And then
Damn fucking meat hooks.
Well,
They get you
every
every time.
movie.
You're like, oh, it's
You
a staple,
feel-
dude.
and then
Something about it.
could you imagine hiding under a table while your significant other gets cut up?
Oh,
Just kind of like from the
yeah.
first one, but she's under the table this
Trying to
time.
be quiet.
And you can't make a sound because he doesn't know you're there.
Yeah.
Kind of reminded me of a Quiet Place where she was giving
Oh.
birth and couldn't make a sound.
Yeah. I love when they do that. The remake gives me a similar feel. Like, it's not the same thing, but in the remake, when Bill kills Mike Vogel's character, it gave that emotional punch that he had to die, like, right in front of her. Even if it was at her hands, she had to do that to make it work. This one kind of did a similar thing, but in a different way, where it was like, damn, I really feel for her in this moment, watching somebody that means something to her die like that. But yeah, 100%.
When Chrissy's free to leave, she's at the front door, door's open, she can walk out, and she turns around to go save, who was it, Bailey.
How
that
terrible
was-
is that?
That was no. Would any of us do that for
Dude,
anyone at this
Bye-bye.
table?
I'm glad
I
you're a
might
good
do
friend.
it. I think I would do it.
Think about how her outcome, though, how terrible that is. If she just would have left, at least somebody would have survived, probably, because she went back and ended up. That's what I actually love about this. It was all for nothing. I like movies that take it there.
And then I like the ending of the movie with him walking off into the darkness.
Yeah,
I thought that was a fitting ending.
he's ready to film that remake, dog. Yeah. I know that came first, but technically this came first chronologically.
But yeah, that's about it for me. I really like the beginning.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, Josh pretty much covered all of my notes.
I copied off.
Yeah, I was
of
gonna say, dude.
Found
Copy and
out
paste, bro.
Leatherface was born at the meatpacking place,
Yes.
Mhm.
and then the
Thrown
whole
in the trash.
the whole biker gang. Like, come on, like that was just way over the top. They just needed to have the biker gang in there just to cause the wreck, just for the sheriff to show up and be crazy.
Mhm.
So, but like I said, the deaths are brutal in this one. This one is great. Yeah, this one's, I'll call it great. I won't say it's,
Great.
It is, man. I
Yeah.
think so. I agree.
I think y'all throwing great around a little too.
there's like
Nah,
good,
hey,
great.
The great ones in
and
this
then there's-
franchise are great.
There's a top tier above great, but this one was
Fantastic.
great.
Immaculate.
Superb.
Superb.
I can't even think of the word, but this, yeah, I really enjoyed this one and the remake, and just don't bully anyone because they could turn into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's one of my notes. But Josh covered everything that I was going to cover, so I really don't have anything else to say. But I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, for me, I'm not the biggest fan of prequels, but I'll say this much. It's a prequel movie done right. If you're going to do it right. And I'm sure everybody strives to do that, but it's hard to do for some reason. They did it right, like what Josh said about the teeth with, Arlie Ermy, Hoyt's character. Another one I'll add on, the Uncle Monty, how he lost his legs, all that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
you just
that.
cut 'em off.
Yeah. Like they didn't just they covered like every. They covered every base. You know what I mean?
And he only needed to cut one off, but he was like, even it up,
And
cut
then
the other off.
exactly, like, even it up for him. This is a shitty. Hoyt is so great. I love when he takes the biker dude upstairs, and he's like, "All right, there it is. That's the girl." And he's just like, "That's not the girl." He's like, "Oh, you don't want to see the other girl."
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
actually made me laugh out loud.
That's a good line.
His reaction. Yeah, like you could see, like it was weird seeing him shit himself because he's like, "I'm about to get shot in the head," and you got to think this is the beginning, so he's probably not as hard as he was then. Like he's just now breaking into this ridiculous nature, and he's just rolling
He's
with
at
it.
peak crazy in the remake.
Remake for sure, dude. But yeah, it was great for them too. I think to just capture the essence. Kind of what I was saying. They had a lot of carryover with the characters, bringing them back. The way it was filmed, everything felt like the last one, and they made the right choice to do that. They didn't just restart. They could with a movie called The Beginning. This wasn't a direct sequel. They could have went in a different direction. Like, okay, this isn't this one, so now we're gonna go back to the beginning. No, they kept those same people, and that's what really, really helped it. The remake was a great launch pad to use, and they realized that, and they did it. And then, of course, they amp up the gore in this one. It has more of a grindhouse feel, kind of like the original. I think it does get points for that. I mean, it does, I think, focus more on the cannibalism feel, which is nice. But, I kind of like the remake's feeling of like, how did I put it? I wrote it here in my notes. Just, you don't have to show it because you already know it. You know what I mean? Like, there it is, dude. It rhymes. It must make sense. But, like, like people complain it doesn't show that in the remake. I will say that is one thing they probably should have shown. They should have had at least a dinner scene because that is that's a staple in all these movies. Remake did not have a dinner scene. I get that much. But this one did, and they did it well. It's kind of a mixed aspect because, like I said, dude, like we know it. You don't have to show it. I get it both ways, but in general, it was nice to see them come back with the dinner scene rather than doing what the remake did again, because then you're just getting further and further away from a staple, essentially, of this franchise. The characters, again, lined up very great to battle against this family. They acted out well. I love the dynamic with the brothers switching. I thought that was great. It added, like, another thing of suspense. Like, is he going to find out? How much does he know? There was a lot of good things in this movie. Everything pretty much got covered already other than that. But the beginning is a solid-ass movie. And after it was over, I was really hoping they'd keep pushing forward with these guys. Because why not, man? You got two great movies here.
Yep.
And I wish we could have got more than two. At least make a trilogy, but we didn't. And on to Texas Chainsaw 3D, if you watched it in theaters. What y'all got, man? Who wants to go first? I can go if y'all ain't ready.
I'll go. I mean,
Do it, Tom.
The first time I watched this movie, I was on the fence about it. I kind of enjoyed it. Kind of saw where most people didn't enjoy it. Alexandria Daddario. She is beautiful, but she doesn't compare to how good Jessica Biel was.
That was the first time I saw her, dude. Was in that movie. I was like, who is this bitch?
It had some callbacks, with the armadillo and the shots of them walking up to the house, the butt shots, and they brought back the hook in this movie. And then when Texas Chainsaw Massacre, who's the rapper or whatever?
Trey Songz.
Jesus, Trey Songz.
Yeah, terrible.
Whenever he's cheating on Alexandria Daddario with that other girl
Nikki.
in the barn.
From Deep Blue Sea 3, dog. She's hot as hell, but
She is.
she can't act worth.
And from Lost. And you see
I don't even remember
the
in
Texas
Lost. It's
Chainsaw
crazy.
Massacre out in the graveyard, and they go outside and they yell at him.
You're talking about Leatherface. Every time you refer to Leatherface as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it throws me
it's
off.
The same.
You're like,
He is the Texas Chainsaw.
I literally
Massacre.
pictured this in like a graveyard, like just chilling the whole movie.
Yeah, he's sawing through
I know what you
that
mean, though.
casket that she's in. Which why would they have an open casket? All right.
Some people like open caskets, dude. Not everybody's blown to
Just-
smithereens.
It's like they had the casket ready for someone.
Prepared, yeah.
And they yell at Leatherface like, "Stop! What are you doing? Who are you?" And then he comes and they lock themselves in the barn. And then like the famous line that's so stupid, like Brandon was talking about. She grabs a gun and says, "Welcome to Texas, motherfucker." And shoots through the thing. He's lived in Texas his whole life.
This is his barn you're inside of in
It's
Texas.
his house in Texas. He was born and raised here, and you're just visiting. Like, no. And then they get in the van. I'm like, all right, just
Down
get the
by
hell
the
out of here.
river.
And they drive the van as fast as they can into the fucking gate. Just
Floor
wait for
it.
the gate to open. But honestly, I'd be thinking the same thing. I was like, the van will break through the gate. Boom, like a whiplash, and then the van
Damn.
stalls like always. And then they finally get out, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is right there. Leatherface is right there, cuts the tires, and then you see him drive like 100 yards and flip, and it's just out of nowhere. I did enjoy the festival scene, but
Where he tosses the chainsaw.
well, I was getting like
That was like kind of cool for me, at least that part. But it was just like, this is just for the 3D, so we can be like,
Oh,
oh shit! Did
Yeah.
you see the chainsaw come in my face? That was crazy,
like
Cheryl.
you hear the chainsaw and you see this girl
Sure.
obviously in distress running through the festival, and a chainsaw guy's chasing her, and no one bats an eye. And then she gets on the Ferris wheel, which is smart and stupid at the same time.
It's
Like,
dumb. That's not smart at all.
you think
You're
it's smart for
coming
like
down.
you're coming down on the other side, and then the cop, which Clint Eastwood's son,
Oh yeah, I forget about that.
he yells at the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm just gonna call him Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yells at old TCM over there.
Yeah, he throws the chainsaw at him, which is like a perfect throw too. Like,
Dude, great for he should do
spiral,
shot
yeah.
put for
great,
sure.
great dodge by the cop.
Chainsaws aren't light.
And then he just
Long
runs
ass
into the
chainsaws
woods.
like that.
And another thing that was really intense was when the
Intense in this movie.
cop goes into the house and has his
Oh,
phone.
yeah. That was
and he's
alright.
Following the
videotaping
trail
it.
of blood.
Like, I can imagine being a cop doing that.
I think I should get out of here.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know about this.
when he came to the stairs,
You're
yeah,
like,
he
keep
was like, I'm
going.
done.
And he
Hey,
goes-
that was your moment, dude. What are you doing going downstairs?
He
I
goes-
need backup, dude. When you call for backup, you saw like a blood trail.
yeah,
like
he
that?
said, he's like, I don't know about this. And he was like, keep
The
going.
mayor was telling
officer.
him to move on.
That mayor is such a pretentious
Such a dick.
douche, annoying guy. I hate that guy. Go on.
Where was I at? Oh yeah. He gets down there and he sees all the dead bodies and stuff, and then just get the fuck out of there. And then at the end, Alexandria Daddario's in the police station, and they put the big box of evidence right.
Let me read through this
Let me
real
read
quick.
through it, and then she finds out that they killed her family and that she's actually related to Leatherface.
There you go.
And then at the very end, they're in the meat packing plant, of course, and they're
Welcome to
bad guy.
Texas, motherfucker.
Yeah, well, the Leatherface was about to kill her, but he sees that little scar on her chest, and he's like, "We're family." He realizes they're family.
God, I hate that bitch.
And then the cop comes and he's like beating Leatherface, and then she escapes.
Not in my
and
town.
She grabs a chainsaw and throws it to him and says, "Do your thing, cuz." How stupid is she?
Do your thing. Doesn't she do like a little nod? She's like,
Yeah, like
Do your
like
thing,
it was
cuz.
such a badass line. I'm like,
yeah,
he
she was
just
feeling herself
murdered-
on that one.
He just murdered your boyfriend and
All
all your
your
friends,
friends.
and you
They're
just
family though.
and you just flipped your switch.
As of 3 hours ago.
And then, but then I was
It's
thinking
that.
about like why she did that. I was like, in every other movie, the family's fucking crazy. So she's, probably not all there too. She's probably crazy too. So she was probably like, all right, I'm a bad person now.
That settles it. I'm going to feed my brother and bring him meals in the basement for the rest of my life.
Yeah, yeah. They go home together, and she brings him food, and he just slams the door, and the movie's over. This movie, it's all
Brings
over the
him some
place.
fucking...
It's so they tried so hard to make it such a good movie, and they failed miserably.
I just got that new 2 for $5 Whopper meal, cuz. Throw it under the door. Do your thing, cuz. I know you like them Whoppers. About the closest things to human meat on the market.
But one thing,
What
one
up,
last
bro?
thing I gotta say is I gotta call Leatherface because that chainsaw he has, it starts up immediately.
Instant,
First
dude.
time.
You were talking about yard work earlier.
Yeah,
That'll
dude,
probably be
that
good for you.
That chainsaw, I don't know where he got it. If he got it like Home Depot or something, that is a nice chainsaw.
See, I don't think he cuts his lawn with it though, dude, or trims anything with
It
it.
just body.
Just
I heard
fresh.
Matthew McConaughey lives upstairs. He just jumps out the window like boop and goes down there and just trims everything up for him, cuts down any trees he needs.
But that is a nice chainsaw. It starts up every time.
Oh my god, beautiful. The
He doesn't
craftsmanship
use
on
it for years. Boom, don't matter. It's got gas. Start up first time. Someone's dying. That's all I gotta say about 3D.
that movie is something.
It's out there.
Shit. Solid opening. Brought a Chop Top back, old Bill Moseley. I saw this movie 3 times in theaters, guys. How did I do that? The first time I saw it, I think I was just that desperate for a Chainsaw Massacre movie because anytime it's coming out, I'm like, it's going to be garbage, but I'm going to watch it. And I had a bunch of teenage girls in the crowd, and they were all like, "Ah!" Like right next to me. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, this is pretty good, ain't it?" But something felt off. And then when I went back the second time, and it turned out it was the whole movie. It was fucking not good at all. And the third time, I got suckered into it by a chick I was dating. And next thing you know, I'm like, I just saw that movie 3 times in theaters. That movie. Are you fucking kidding me? That's solid opening, though. Cell phones, guys. I feel like a teacher right now. Cell phones. Why do people have cell phones right now if this is supposed to follow up the original? The timeline don't make sense for them to have cell phones, does it? What is going on with that? Okay, we'll just skim past that. That was okay.
Not just cell phones, iPhones.
Yeah, like they're over there living their best
Advanced cell
life
phones.
in 19 what the fuck ever.
All she had to do was read the note.
Yeah, that cell phone
She
don't
gets
exist.
she gets a beautiful house
Yeah.
in Texas. It's probably a couple $1 million. Doesn't read the note about, hey, yeah, there's a psycho killer that lives in the basement.
Psycho killer.
Just give him some food every once in a while, and he'll be good.
And that I didn't read the note like that was gonna be okay. I'd been like, I'm not doing that. What the fuck? Am I getting paid to do that? And I'm gonna bring him meals.
And
It's almost like she had to go through that for that to
and
work.
th-
Even then
again,
it wouldn't, but in this movie it does.
they pick up that hitchhiker, and you're like, okay, finally,
a hitchhiker.
a good hitchhiker. You know what I
It's
mean?
just another pretentious
Yeah,
douche
who
just trying to
just
steal from the
tries to
shit.
steal everything, and then he gets killed by Leatherface, and you're like, finally,
Oh yeah.
a hitchhiker that doesn't kill themselves or something like that. They finally get killed by Leatherface. I was
Dude.
like, finally.
Did someone just punch through the ground? Because that was groundbreaking. I mean,
I
you
thought
kidding
about
me?
that all day.
Yeah, that was fucking insane. Not even what you just said. I'm talking about what they did, though.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
you were giving me props. My bad.
You can
It
have
wasn't
them,
as
though.
good as
you
I
can have them though, because
I'll take it.
You backed off of it because it makes sense though. But it was something different. But it's like, how different though? Like, what is this? Like, that's your cool twist on the hitchhiker? Like, you couldn't have came up with something better. Do you remember that solid acting of the last two films? You're like, oh, okay, look at this. It's gone. It's gone. Kapoof. It's gone. Leave it at that. And the townspeople kind of turning into the bad people.
Yeah.
Nah, not for me, bro. I'm not feeling that. I don't know what that is. Yeah. We're kind of like turning Leatherface into the anti-hero here. Like we're supposed to be, I'm rooting for Leatherface or bad guys normally because I'm like, yeah, chop them up. But I'm never rooting for them in a way where I'm like, yeah, those guys are mean.
They
Take
deserve
care
it.
of them. Don't make me feel like that, man. What are you doing? What are you doing? I gotta go on that voice. They took our jobs. They took our. Yeah, that's what I felt like, and that just comes out. It's a weird twitch. The blood in this movie too, dude. Maybe it's the 3D. I don't know what it is. Which overall, the 3D just feels like I should have known out the gates. You're turning a Chainsaw Massacre movie into 3. What do you? That sounds cash grab already. That just sounds wrong. The only movie that's ever achieved that, which is a movie I love, and you'll find out more about that, is Friday the 13th Part 3. But that kind of thing worked in the 80s, and it was new. In the late 2000s, not late, but where we're at now, I guess you'd say late, almost 2020. When did this come out? 2015, 13? Something like that. I was thinking 13. Okay, I changed my answer. 13. Okay, 2013, a 3D Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. That sounds like a shit show to begin with. And the blood felt very cartoonish, man. Like there's something about it that felt very cartoony. It almost seemed like CGI type of blood. It didn't look real. Didn't like that. The Leatherface performance, underwhelming to me. The look, underwhelming. It's honestly kind of weird not having the right-hand man around in a way. You know, people don't ever bring this up, but I think it's a valid point. I wouldn't mind Leatherface solo dolo, but I'm used to by now having Leatherface having that Chop Top, the Hitchhiker, Hoyt, that other guy. You're like, oh, this guy's fucking shit up too. And this, it's just Leatherface. You don't have anybody to piggyback off of. He doesn't. I mean, we do at the end. Mrs. Do Your Thing cuz comes into play. Thank God. Yeah. No, we don't really have that at all. And overall, it's just a cheesy movie, and not in a good way at all. There's only one scene in the movie that, like, when I first saw it, it actually did kind of scare the shit out of me. I thought it was executed well. I thought it was cool. But then again, the corny, CGI-ish looking blood kind of, didn't really do it for me. When dude went into the basement, the cook guy, oh, man, he's such a good cook. Gordon Ramsay over here. Look out. Yeah, he goes downstairs, dude, and he's kind of like looking in the dark, and the light's like dimming. It's like dark right here, and there's like window light, and then it's dark again, and it's kind of like flashing, if I remember correctly. And not like popping out of the shadows. You just hear like, you hear a do, 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 but you hear the do, do before he emerges, and the Leatherface is just running out of it with a sledgehammer. So out of nowhere, it's like, do, 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 and that dude's got like 2 seconds to be like, whoa, shit, and turn around. In the movie theater, when out of nowhere, you were kind of doing what he was doing as an audience member. You're like, what are we looking at here? And out of nowhere, do, 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 do. You were like, oh, shit. That is the one scene that legitimately got me. Everything else, this movie can go on somewhere. It's not good. And Adam Marcus, you know, good friend, you know, us at Dewback, or I should say Project Louder now. Great dude, director Jason Goes to Hell. He started, I believe, writing this movie, and they just started taking creative liberties with it and ruined it. I really wish we would have got a full-on script from him, because I think he could have done a lot better job with it. But overall, this movie, man, not for me. Not my cup of tea. It gets a little worse every time I see it, actually.
Oh, damn. I didn't hate it. It was for me.
Yeah, it was for me. I didn't hate it, but I didn't really like it too much.
No, I mean, I don't really have much to add.
I'm going to piss. I'll add that.
Okay, go piss. Leatherface had Hulk strength in this. I don't know if you remember, he flipped over the van after it had flipped. He flips over the whole van by himself.
And Leatherface is never supernatural, bro.
Yeah, but he just got these powers.
And
Flipping, go piss, go piss.
In 3, dude, you talked about how the dude, he yanked it, and you worked at where? Where'd you work at? You talking about 3 when he ripped the hood off?
Oh, yeah, Toyota. You can't rip the hood off or the trunk off a car. There's 4 bolts.
We got the fact checker right here, dude.
It's impossible. unless you're Avengers.
But yeah, he's flipping vans, and then another scene, the mayor's death when he falls in. He's holding on the thing.
I was gonna bring that up.
Leatherface, I almost called him Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
You can call him
Tyler.
that. It's, don't
Leatherface
change.
cuts his hands off one at a time, and then kicks his hands in because they were still holding onto the chain or whatever. I thought that was interesting. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have much to add to this movie. It was
Y'all pretty much covered everything. So my just main thing was the beginning was so promising. That intro, the opening to this movie, was so promising, and I just watched it last
You watched
night.
all of them within the last.
Right. But I was watching it last night, and it was like, because I haven't seen it since theaters. I went and seen it in theaters too, but the opening was starting to happen, and I was like, is this not really as bad as I remember like it being? Like, because the opening was so, like, it's just such a good opening, you know, you get the family again and all that.
Did you see it 3 times?
But then, no, hell no. I've watched it twice. And yeah, but other than that, once the movie starts going, honestly, it just goes, it's a downhill, the movie. And then the ending with the twist with her being a cousin. And
Yeah, it was a reach.
That blew you away. You're like, what?
Wow, do your thing,
it was
cuz.
so bad.
Shakespearean.
It's not a piece of trash. I mean, it's you know, a couple of the kills are pretty cool in it,
Debatable.
but I wouldn't say that it's, you know, a great movie.
Yeah, just an
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Just
to the
an
next.
And
The next and the last one.
Oh, man.
Leatherface.
yeah, that's about to just not be standing up in about 5 seconds. How about this? Prop it up.
There
in
we
front of
go.
me,
Be
you know
smarter
what I mean?
than the movies. Yeah.
'Cause I'm totally drinking this beer.
Who wants to start this one?
I mean, I'll get it rolling. I mean, I won't start it, but I'll do a little introduction, I guess. I'll let one of y'all have it. Leatherface. Yeah. This one right here, the latest one and the last one.
Oh my gosh!
This is a. Do you want it?
Do you want me to
Who
go
wants
in
it?
on it?
Go for it,
I
dude.
mean, you want to?
Oh,
Nah,
where do
he
I-
looks like he's in distress. Do you
have a
want it?
hernia?
no, I'm fine. Just this
might.
movie is.
I don't have a lot to say about this one, honestly.
I mean, they give the kid a chainsaw for his birthday. Like what
Happy
the?
birthday.
Not just a chainsaw. They're trying
In
to give him a
fairness,
kill.
that might be better than clothes when you're at that age.
You know, and
The
the
socks.
when
Yeah,
they're
fuck.
escaping the psych ward and the runner, the president of the psych ward or whatever who runs it, his death was pretty dope. Just slamming his face up against that
yeah.
glass.
Mhm.
That was a cool death, and that's the only good thing I gotta say about this movie. This movie, this movie probably is the worst movie I've ever seen. It's worse than
Bold.
Next Gen. I can't think of right off the top. I can't think of a movie I've ranked lower
Yeah,
than
that
this.
is
ever
bold,
before.
son.
I didn't hate it.
We-
It wasn't
Did
good.
y'all watch the same movie? It was
Yeah,
terrible.
So my thing is it doesn't feel like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre
I
movie.
tried to be.
That's what
felt
ruins
like-
it. That's what ruins
It felt like a different movie.
I tried to watch it with an open mind and be like, all right, this is just another movie. It doesn't have to do with anything with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I couldn't. This was just so bad to me, and I'm sure a lot of people agree with me. And then some people, they might enjoyed it, but they're freaking psychos.
They are like Mr. Texas Chainsaw Massacre himself.
Yeah, and the twists and all that. It's just so stupid.
Yeah.
You didn't like the twist?
The twist was
No.
bad. It was really bad.
Here's the thing. The twist is a classic example. Like if we did spoiler alert.
You can
If-
spoil it.
Not just the movie. I'm talking about spoiling like an upcoming list of ours.
Oh,
You could do like if we do like a top 10 like twists that ruin movies. This would probably be in it. Like you had it, it was fine, it was okay. You tried to get too cute and it just didn't work. That Bud guy, he was way more fitting for the role and it happened all
Exactly.
too fast and it just didn't seem realistic. It wasn't believable. You kind of blink and Steven Dorff's ass is on the couch and he's chopping it like, where did this go from here? Now, immediately I will say this about the family. Like, dude, I get so fucking sick of seeing new families in this family. Like, how terrible will these guys be? Because they're always so garbage. And because it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre and it's not the other movies, aside from 3D, actually, where they just focus on Leatherface. The other movies, you're like, okay, maybe I don't like this Jason as much. Maybe I don't like this Michael. Maybe I don't like this Chucky. Maybe I don't like this Freddy. Even though there's only one other person that played Freddy, but that's beside the point. Chucky too. You know what I'm trying to say? So you might not like one person in the movie. That's your main, killer, the main attraction. And Texas Chainsaw, you get a group of people. So you're like, if you don't like all of them, it's like double time, triple time, quadruple times. There's like 4 of them or something. And you're just like, God dang it, I hate all of these people. And it hurts that much more. And this one comes in, and it's at... You're wondering, like, will this be the good, creepy, more nonchalant family, or this be your typical, like, yeah, you're going to get him today, Leather. And motherfucker, do you want that? Like, that's what's going to happen in this movie. They don't show them a whole lot because it's the origin story and you're more on the road. But it's that same, like, there's a fat kid, like, that loves cake, according to 50 Cent. That's a poet, if you haven't heard of him. And he's just over there, like, like, it's just mind-numbing at this point. Like, you're just like, dude, I'm so tired of these stupid-ass families. I will say I did enjoy the asylum escape. I was on board at that point. I was like, rough opening. Now we have this in the asylum. It's not bad. It's not good. Somewhere in between. The asylum escape was kind of cool. We'll see where it goes from here. And, as its own thing, it's not the worst movie ever. I feel like this movie, as its own thing, would be a 6 out of 10 type of film. You'd watch it, you wouldn't hate your life, but you probably would never watch it again unless it's like on randomly or somebody like, you seen this? Like, oh, is that what you're watching? I did watch that a few years back, sure. And you wouldn't be hating yourself watching it at your friend's house or something. But as a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, it just doesn't work. It's not what we were craving. It's not what we wanted. You got Steven Dorff in this one. It's kind of refreshing seeing him. I will say at least he wasn't great. He wasn't like otherworldly or anything, which you don't expect anybody to be in Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. But he was serviceable, which is more than I necessarily thought he would be. Old Deacon Frost. I figured at this point he'd be like, oh, God, Steven Dorff's in this. He's probably going to churn in some terrible performance. He was okay, which is more than I expected. That was all right. I like how the movie isn't afraid to take it there. I mean, that was fine. But in the end, the twist just ruins it. The final shot of the movie I kind of like with the ending and the It's Over Now song. You kind of see him, doing his thing and becoming, Leatherface. Like, I like that in theory, but because of the execution and who became Leatherface, this little scrawny guy, I don't believe it. I don't buy any of it. It's just, that's the biggest thing. I don't buy any of it. It was already just a barely good movie. And then when you ditch a lot of the chainsaw shit and it didn't work. It never worked. Never worked.
So talk about a what the fuck moment was when they found that trailer and the dead dude was in there, and then Ike and Clarice were having sex and she's like making out with the dead dude, like licking him. Like, what the fuck?
I was hoping at least somebody would say that.
What was up with that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
don't
you don't
understand
get
that at
down
all.
like that, dude. That's like next level swinger status
Not
right there,
at
bro.
all. And then another thing that kind of stood out, just something small,
Shock
was where
value, dude. Shock value.
Elizabeth, Jackson, and Bud went full Bear Grylls and hid in that dead cow.
Yeah.
I wasn't really expecting that, and then they came crawling out of the dead cow covered in blood. And then she like washes up in the creek or whatever and just gets a little bit of the blood off of her. If that was me, I would have I would not have any more
Cleanliness
cow.
is key.
I didn't understand that. They again in this movie came full circle from the beginning, where Jed gets the chainsaw and won't kill the dude, and then at the end he's got the chainsaw and the dude's in the chair, and he actually kills him that time. And then the last thing I wrote down was, don't call Jed's mother crazy or you'll be beheaded.
Yeah, dude.
Because it was like she was about to talk him out of killing her or whatever, and then she said, your mother's crazy.
Don't go barking up
Fucking
that tree. That's a
head
bad
gone.
idea.
But yeah, movie's average.
I was so excited for this movie too when it came out. I was really pumped. was like, this is gonna be a good movie, and then it just disappointed me so bad. They could have made it so much better.
There's so many of those in this franchise, though.
I know,
like
but
that. Just missed opportunities.
I feel like this is like one of the biggest missed opportunities. Like it's a fresh new take. Leatherface as starting off as a kid growing up.
Well,
and
what
they
worried
just-
me from the jump is that it wasn't going to theaters, and we already had The Beginning, which is a prequel. This is another prequel, so I was like, they've already done this.
Yeah.
It's not going to theaters. I
It's
was
just-
worried about it from the jump.
It's just all over the place. It had potential, but it just didn't capitalize on it.
No, and then they hurt themselves even more with decision making. Did you even say anything on this, Ronnie? I don't think you did.
No, it was. It would have gotten a higher score if that twist ending wouldn't have happened. Pretty much, that twist ending pissed me
Like
off.
I said, I legitimately think this would have been like a 6 out of 10 movie if it was just its own thing. You don't have any like prior notion like, oh, that's not Leatherface. It's just its own thing. There's a weird insane asylum. You see a kid, you're like, where's this going? And you're like, oh, it's this kid. They grew up to be this kid, and he's murderous with a chainsaw. It would have just been like, there's nothing great about this horror movie, but, you know, I wouldn't have hated myself watching it. And I think that's the best way you can describe this movie, in my opinion. Like, it shouldn't have been a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie.
Not
And
at
that
all.
sucks. It's robbed of it.
All right, you gonna do the rankings?
Yeah.
Boop.
Who wants
Hell
to go
no.
first?
Dude. I'll go first, Tyler.
All right.
You take them.
We're gonna go from worst to first.
Always.
Worst, number 8, Leatherface. I give it a 3.5.
Nice.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't gotta explain anything else about that. 7, I got Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. It was just too wacky, too out there for me,
No.
too ridiculous. I gave it a 4.0.
Ah, you're killing me.
6, I
Smalls.
got Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4 Next Gen. I gave it a 4.5. It would have got lower, but Matthew McConaughey is barely saved it. Barely, and it still gets a 4.5. 5, we got Texas Chainsaw 3 Leatherface. I gave it a 4.5 as well. It was just a little bit better to me, a little bit more
Damn.
put together.
Nothing over a 5 yet. That's a rough start.
Yeah,
I feel it though, man. I really do. Other than 2.
TCM 3D, I'll give it a 5. There we go. You're welcome.
Nice.
That's just an average movie. I mean, I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's just basic.
It's just there.
Number 3, I got the OG Texas Chainsaw Massacre at a 6.5. Y'all ain't gonna bash me on that? I thought y'all were
Yeah.
gonna say something.
I did a facial expression.
Oh, okay.
Like my whole right face went into stroke mode, actually. I was like,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
6.5.
that's rough. That is a rough score for that. But I'm glad you were like, I hated this movie.
Oh, it
It's
was
a 6.
gonna get way lower.
Well,
but then
at
I
first you
rewatched
told
it
me a
last-
6.0, and you're like, I just wasn't a big fan. You're like, now I love it.
That was
And
me
you're
being
like, now
nice
it's
and-
been bumped up to 6.5. So I'm over here. I'm like, how'd you go from bad at 6.0 to like, now I love it? And it bumped up. I was like, it's 0.5 difference.
Number 2,
Yeah. He's like,
TC
ah, fuck it, I'm out.
TCM Beginning.
here.
I gave it a 7.0. And the number 1 is the remake. I gave it a 7.5. Y'all might think that the 7s are harsh rankings for these. 7's a good movie to me. If it's an 8, it's an amazing movie. If it gets over a 9, that's one of the best movies I've ever seen. That's how I do my rankings. So that's why they're so low compared to some
Me
of these
too.
other guys. If it's a
I'm
if
the
it's a
same way. I
5,
just love more movies.
if it's a 5,
what
it's
it
just
is.
a basic movie. 4s and lower, they're complete garbage. If it's a 3, don't ever watch it. It's just terrible. But yeah, those are my rankings.
Yeah, I go 5 average. Anything below it sucks. 6 good. 7 kind of really good, almost great. 8 great. 9 is like, oh shit, this is one of the best movies of the year. 10 is
Well, mine's
one of
not.
my
It's
favorites.
not. If it's a 9, it don't even have to be one of the best movies. It has to be like one of the best movies I've ever seen
really.
for it to get a 9 or above.
Well, that's where the 0.5s and 10s come in. That's where
Yeah.
that gets me. Because the fact that I'm like, this is one of the best movies in years, I'm like, well, then the 0.5s, I feel like that's crucial for those.
I'll never give a movie a 10
10.
or anything like that. and I maybe a couple of 9.5, but they gotta
Really?
be yeah.
No, I'll hand out a 10
Because there's
now.
always
not
always
many, but I
room
will.
for improvement. I feel like, and
Has anybody handed out a 9.5 yet? Even?
On the show?
Yeah,
If it's
If
anybody,
any-
it's you, because
yeah,
every
if
movie's in
anyone,
your
it's
top
probably
10,
you.
right?
that's such bullshit. I don't know how y'all come up with that. It's the top 50s, and that's because there's so many movies in the top 50, and we keep talking about my favorite
50.
shit.
There's 50.
all right, who's next for their worst to first?
I mean, I can take it.
Do it, man. Take it there. I'm really interested in y'all's two's. Rating.
Okay.
Mainly Rodney, because he's been completely secretive about everything. And we've been watching these together, so I have more stock in it.
So, the 8 movies I kind of have broken up into 3 tiers, I feel like.
Yeah.
There's 2 that are bad, and that's 8, Next Generation, and 7 is the third one, and I give both of them a 4.
I was waiting for you
They're-
to say 2. I was like,
No,
fuck
they're
you.
right there for me. Then the next group would be coming in at 6 is 2, which I give a 5.5. I wasn't really feeling the vibe, and I guess you might be correct when I go back and watch it again and again and again. It might change, and I might
Yeah, you gotta watch
give it
on
a
its own
higher ranking,
terms.
but I wasn't really feeling it. So, and I didn't like the characters, like I said in that movie.
I
so
can see that.
that
would
gets
be
a
hold back
5.5.
point.
It's an okay movie. Coming in at number 5 is 3D for me, and I'll give that movie a 6. Fourth place is Leatherface, which I obviously liked more than
Really?
all 3 of you.
Dang,
I didn't.
That blows my mind, actually.
I didn't look at it as a Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Me
movie,
either.
and I guess that might have helped me in liking it more. I didn't like the twist ending, like you all have said. I do think that hurt it, but it wasn't a terrible movie to me. It was okay.
Some
And
people like that movie, actually.
It
You'd be
gets-
surprised. It seems like 1 out of every 4 people are like, it was good. Never heard great. But
I mean, it gets a 6.5 for me.
it don't get as bashed on as the
And
other
then
bottom feeders.
The top 3, which I think our top 3s are going to be the same 3 movies
Yeah,
for the most part.
for the most part.
Number 3 for me is the remake. It gets a 7.5. Very good movie. It's not great. I'm not taking it to that great status that other people at this table have said.
Oh, just wait.
Oh, I already know. 2
Just
for
wait.
me is The Beginning. I like The Beginning more than the remake. I like that origin story, the prequel, and how we figured
great.
out how the remake became to be, if you will. And The Beginning gets an 8 for me. And then number 1 is the OG, the original Gangster. It gets an 8.5 for me. Great movie. The suspense
Wham,
throughout
wham,
it,
wham.
fantastic.
I was going to say, the suspense around it, wham, wham, wham. You said fantastic.
It's a solid ranking.
I like it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, right.
So,
I got to hear this. I got to. I'll go last since I'm the horror fella.
So my number 8 is going to be the Next Generation. I gave it a solid 2.0.
I'm surprised you didn't go lower, actually.
I
the way
was
you were
really
talking
thinking about a 1, but the last movie I rated a 1 was Shazam, and I can't. I think
I can't
don't
believe
like
you
Shazam
rated that. I didn't even watch
more.
Shazam, but people love that.
I think I like this better than I like Shazam.
Every time you say that, I think Kazam, too, dude. I go to Shaq.
No, but yeah. So number 8 is the Next Generation at a solid 2.0. Probably never moved from that point.
Probably not. Maybe lower. You just debated that.
I thought mine were low.
Okay, so my next 3 are the same score, pretty much. So 7. If I had to choose, I didn't really think this through. Put them as the same score.
Probably should
You
have.
unprepared. Fuck. You need a pen?
I'll make the
Some scribbles.
Leatherface.
The Leatherface.
Well, Leatherface. This one right here
Yeah,
that we were just
not,
talking
not
about.
the third Leatherface. Has the same title. This movie, these fucking titles.
I'm gonna make that number 7, and that's at a 4.5.
Nice.
And then I'm gonna go with 3D as 6, and that's a 4.5.
I dig it.
And then Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 at a 4.5.
I'm so glad you have the sense to rank 2 over all those.
That's 5.
It's like the same thing, except executed way better.
Yeah, well, no, the 2, I just will never watch it again in my life. The
Yeah.
others, there's a chance that I might watch them in the future to see.
Mm.
Now that we're number 4 is going to be
I know where that's gone.
the Texas Chainsaw Massacre
2.
Yep, that's the title.
2.
Gotta be 2.
Yeah, it'll be 2.
Because you're indifferent about it.
Yeah, so it's going to be Texas Chainsaw Massacre number 2 at number 4. Number 3 is going
I'm
to
happy
be
with that.
Texas
Thank you,
Chainsaw
sir.
Massacre at the beginning. And,
You didn't tell us what you rated too.
oh yeah, 2
Or
is a
you didn't
6.8.
tell us what the 3 tiebreakers were. What was the ones that had the 3
they were
ties?
all
4.5. He
That's
said.
right. Okay,
Yeah.
and what was 2?
2 is a 6.0.
It's
and
good. They got a good grade.
I liked it more than I didn't like it.
There
Give
it
it
is.
a 5.5.
And
That's
then
average. It's just under good.
Texas Chainsaw at the beginning,
my
I gave
ratings,
a
at least.
6.0 as well as for my number 3 spot.
6.0,
That's a little
really?
low.
For the beginning, yeah.
I
Okay.
expected you to say more for that.
Yeah, that's
No.
No,
These-
no. Oh my.
My number 1 is gonna be,
Did
or
you
my
say
number
2?
2.
I was like, whoa, bro. That's not how we do rankings around here.
my number 2 is going to be the original
Oh shit.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre at a 7.5,
Damn, that's actually lower than I thought you were going to go
and
to.
then the TCM remake as my number 1, also at a 7.5.
Oh damn, none of them reaching 8.
I can't make any of these an 8. Now, I mean they're good movies, like solid, really good movies, and especially for what they are. But for me to put, it would have to be so much better for it to be an 8 for me.
What could it have done better? I'm just playing. It's
Just
your ranking. Yeah, yeah,
Plenty
explain.
of it.
also when I was saying that the movies are great, I mean in the franchise. I don't mean overall, of my favorite movies or anything. I just said they're great in the franchise. Great as in the franchise.
Did any of y'all have one great movie out of all these?
The original for me is great.
What'd you have rated as?
8.5.
You're a smart man. At least somebody came to play. Okay. What was it? Do you have number 2? What was that? 7
For me?
7.5 or something?
My number 2 or number 2?
What was number 2? Your number 2 on your
The
ranking.
beginning.
What'd you rate that?
8.
You gave another great score. And 3 was a what? 7.5?
The remake is 7.5.
All right.
I dig it. Okay, my number 8 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D, and I give it a 3.5. Garbaggio. Okay, enough of that. All right, number 7, Leatherface. This is a movie, like I said, would have probably been a 6 out of 10, but the twist just ruins it because it's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, and it's not believable. What the fuck is going on? 4.5 out of 10. Doesn't even get the average treatment. Number 6 is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Leatherface. Yes, the other movie in this franchise called Leatherface. Gets a 5.0 out of 10. And my God, that's the most perfect rating I can imagine for it because it just goes, it's average. Number 5 is Next Generation. Theoretically, this deserves a 1 out of 10. I gave it a 6 out of 10 because I enjoy the disaster piece that it is. But make no mistake, if you're going into this like, oh, well, he gave it a 6 out of 10, it might be all right. No, it is not. It is fucking terrible. Know that going in, and maybe you can have some fun with how terrible it is. Classic case of a so bad that you start to enjoy it, drinking with your friends one night, like, what the fuck is beer? All that. That's the kind of movie it is. I can't give it any better score than a 6 out of 10. Barely passing grade for me, but it is garbage, make no mistake. Number 4, and yes, the rest of these movies are great, to channel my inner Tony the Tiger on you. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, is an 8.0 out of 10. I have always loved this movie. I actually used to love it a little more. It's got bumped down a little bit as I've gotten older from like the 9 that I had it at, but it's still a great movie. 8 out of 10 in this fucking uneven franchise. You got 4 against 4 as far as I'm concerned. Then you have Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, the underrated movie around here, and I genuinely believe it's because y'all haven't seen it enough and it followed the original. If you would have had Next Generation as 2 and you would have had Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 as 3, as it is, and you would have brought in this one as 4, you'd have been like, wow, like I kind of miss the old grindhouse type style, but damn, at least they knew what they were doing with it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is a great horror movie at an 8.0 out of 10, but
No,
I
it's
get how
not.
it's not some people's flavor, but yes, it is great.
No.
It's great.
It's definitely
Ended
not
at
my
that.
cup of tea. Mainly because I
It's
don't
great.
like giant pieces of shit in my teeth.
There it is. Great. Okay, number 2. I hate to do this, but you'll see my score and you'll understand. The original is my number 2, but it is my very first, and all of our very first. Actually, I think Rodney gave one movie a 9.5. I want to say, I really do. One of them.
No, we talked about this yesterday. It was the Bad Boys. 3, I think it was.
I don't think you did.
it 3 or
I think what it was is you gave more than one 9.0, and that was surprising. So you went.
Was it a 9.5 overall or something?
No, I think you gave 2 9.0. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but yeah, I think you gave 9.0 to 2 movies, and that's what's surprising. But OG is a 9.5 out of 10 for me. This is my top. I'm not even gonna say it. I want to, but I'm not gonna do it. Don't even do it. Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. It's one of my favorite horror movies. I'll say that. This movie means the world to me, and it's a movie that's only grown on me the more and more I watch it. The more behind the scenes shit, the more what they pulled off. It just comes together. It becomes better and better. I love the original, and then of course the remake. Also about to have another first drop. This is a 10 out of 10 to me, guys. This is one of those movies I know is greater than it's received. I just know that. I watch it, and I'm just like, there's no way. Like, what is wrong with you people? But I will say I love this movie more than anybody I've ever met. I have there's a lot of like I know there's more substance to it than me. I've told the story before. My mom threatened to take me to boot camp, and I just kept acting up like an idiot. And my mom pulled me out of school by the Showcase Cinemas, is what they called it back then, next to Kroger. And she took me in Kroger's empty parking lot, and I thought she was going to take me to go to boot camp. And I'm over here being a dumbass little kid. I might have even been too old to be crying. I was in like middle school, I think, maybe 6th grade. I was like, don't do this, like a little bitch. And out of nowhere, she hit me with the like, okay, fine, I won't. And if you're good, and she knew how much I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I'll take you to go see the remake right now. And I was like, what? You want to talk about that's jail for kids. Like, I was going to jail, and the next thing you know, I'm seeing the most anticipated movie of my life at that point. It's still probably my favorite theater experience. It's beyond that, though. It is such a great movie and deserves even more love. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of the few 10s we might even see on here from me, depending on how much we talk about my favorite movies. TCM remake is special, guys. Get on that shit.
My overall ranking of the franchise, I gave it a 5.0. It's average. It's the worst franchise that we're going to be talking about within the next couple months. To me, I enjoy it the least amount, so I gave it a 5.0.
I won't debate that.
I give it a 7.0. I think the top 3 movies really carry all the weight
They
They
really
for this
do.
whole
Yeah.
franchise, and those 3 movies, I would watch all the bad ones to watch those 3.
Yeah.
It's kind of how I view it. The
Yeah.
five other ones are bad, but they're worth it to get to those 3, in my opinion. So a 7 for me.
Yep.
Yeah, I give it a 6.
I'm cool with it. Passing grade. I'll also give it a 7. You'd think I'd give it higher, considering the 2 at the top, especially, and I have 2 other ones I love. But like I said, the ratings don't even always add up to how I actually feel with ratings. The low ones, like, it's like as soon as I think about how much I love the top ones, the low ones just like invade my brain, and I'm like, oh my God. Drives me crazy. Can't do it. 7 for me.
And the overall box office banner rating, drum roll,
I always have my mic in my hand.
Yeah.
I can't.
is a 6.0.
Yes, called it.
Good job.
Hey, I know what
So
that
that-
means. It was good.
It
It,
means
it got
it's
the
a little
barely
above
passing.
average.
Got that passing grade a little bit. You want to do y'all's movie of the week right
Yes.
quick?
Let's do these
Someone go
movies.
Of course, through this.
Someone
I'll go-
definitely
I'll
has to
go.
go,
Go
first.
ahead.
I'll go first. My movie of the week is Rambo: Last Blood.
Trying to kiss your back. All right.
Stallone is just fantastic in this movie. His little niece is hanging out with the wrong people. She ends up getting kidnapped and sold into slavery and drugged and stuff, and he has to go try to get her back, but I won't spoil it. Something happens, and then they all come for Rambo, and then Rambo just does what he does best. He prepares, has a bunch of awesome kills, a bunch of awesome action. This is a great Rambo movie. I really enjoy this one. Some people might not enjoy it as much as others, but I like this one, and I'll rewatch this one any day of the week. I love this one.
Yeah, he did all that at 105 years old. I have Alligator. If y'all haven't seen this movie, this is a motherfucking blast from the past. If you like creature features like me personally, Jaws, I think y'all know how I feel about that. This is the other movie that was a counterbalance to Jaws and its sequels. It's just a fun movie. It's like the urban legend. They flush an alligator down the toilet. It grows up in the sewer, and it is fucking huge. It's fucking killing people, and eventually it breaks out on the city streets and starts eating all those people alive, too. And it has one of the scenes that haunted me more than any scene from my childhood. There's a scene where, it's been out in the street and all that. It went into a pool, and it's at the bottom of a pool. And essentially, these kids are playing walk the plank. They're all dressed up as pirates. Maybe it's a Halloween party, whatever the fuck it is, what have you. And they push them to the end, and the kid peeks in the pool, and the fucking lights come on. It's still in the scariest, oh shit moments in a movie. The kid peeks down and sees that crocodile. It almost looks like the alligator, I should say, is smiling at the kid. It's almost like come on in here. And they push the kid in, and the kid gets eaten. You can see the alligator scoop it up in its mouth, and then the other kids are like, oh shit. Yeah, this movie, it's got a couple scary scenes like that, but overall it's a great creature feature. Fuck yeah.
Guess we'll keep going around the table, Rodney.
Might as well.
My movie of the week is Phone Booth.
Great movie.
What the fuck's a phone booth?
Got Colin Farrell, Forrest Whitaker, Kiefer Sutherland. Most of this movie takes place in a phone booth.
I still don't know what that means.
And you might be like, why the fuck would I want to watch a movie in a phone booth?
I love isolated shit like that.
But somehow it's super intense.
Yeah.
It's a psychological thriller. I think it's a very good movie. Check it out.
Yeah. It's a good movie. Rodney doesn't agree, but Rodney's wrong with most of his.
I didn't
just like all your opinions on Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. What you got, Rodney?
My movie of the week is Brick Mansions, and
I've only seen that
actually, this is my second time watching it. I watched it last night, I think,
did you?
or the night before, something like that. But Paul Walker, undercover agent, who has to go into these apartments called Brick Mansions. It's like a ghetto. And he goes in with his ex-con, and they got to try and defuse a bomb. It's kind of hectic throughout of it, but it's Paul Walker. So Paul Walker was a pretty good actor in my eyes. He did pretty good in this. Thank you.
And good night.
Yeah.
I like Running Scared the best,
I
though.
think that's
Running
a
Scared is Paul Walker's best movie.
Agreed.
Running Scared is Paul Walker's best movie.
I agree with that. Running Scared is Paul Walker's best movie. Say that 5 times fast.
Well, I think that's about it. Please follow us on Instagram at boxofficebannerofficial_ in between those words. We post
Yes.
clips about the new podcast that's going to be coming up, and I post a link that you can go to and watch it on our Facebook. You can also watch it on YouTube under Box Office Banner, so please subscribe to that. And we post it on we post these podcasts every Tuesday on Facebook, so we all share it, so you can go to our Facebooks and watch it, or Project Louder page and watch it there. So
Yeah, bro. 100%. And like I said, this is going to be the franchises coming up. Next week, we're going to be covering Halloween. And I know there's plenty of Halloween fans and Michael Myers fans, so expect the same type of show. And always, guys, keep that motherfucking banter going.
yeah, please like, comment, subscribe, do everything you can to help us out. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
It just makes us smile, makes our days a little bit better.
It does.
Now hit the in the.
Are you
God
ready,
damn it,
Rodney?
you
Damn.
podcast.
I thought when I said keep the box office banner rolling, you were going to do it, man. Just do it. Do it.